Basically, Mr. Garfield, when evidence is brought up, if there's evidence you would like to challenge or motion at any point to dismiss it, you can feel free to do it. But wait for that evidence to be brought up. All right.
Absolutely. And if I would like to, will I be able to provide a narrative or anything like that about my situation, given that I cannot exactly question myself?
You can.
Oh, fantastic. And,
But if you do give a narrative, you got to leave yourself open to going up on the stand because you'll be waiving your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
absolutely. I would love to. One
And
other question that I got for you.
I must make it perfectly clear. It's ill-advised for you to represent yourself, but it's perfectly legal if you want to.
Well, I got no problems with that. I mean, mostly I'm just trying not to get wife in prison.
Right. Well, it worked out just fine with Ted Bundy, I think. Didn't Ted Bundy walk free, Bob?
I'm sorry. I would like to file a motion for mistrial for trying to compare me with Ted Bundy. I think you've already made the decision as to who I am.
Denied. On the statement of the charges.
Well, I will be appealing this.
June 2nd, you can appeal it. Statement of charges. On June 2nd, 2019, Garfield, Henderson, Lord, Murphy, Braun, Pinto, Patel, and Sonny D under the false pretenses. He then proceeded to brutally attack his victims with a knife. Carved out of the flesh of the thighs, eat the flesh of the maimed victim, and then sew up the remains. After each victim, he would gloat over Twitter using a rating system. Police later apprehended Mr. Henderson after a high-speed vehicle pursuit. During the apprehension, Mr. Henderson stabbed Deputy Metzger twice before being dispatched by Deputy Clarence Williams. While in Bolingbrook Penitentiary, Mr. Henderson has attempted to bite multiple prisoners and attack Park Ranger Conan Clarkson. The charges are attempted second-degree murder on a peace officer ×1, reckless evading ×1, resisting arrest ×1, assault with a deadly weapon ×3, criminal threats ×2, unlawful imprisonment ×1, battery on a peace officer ×1, impersonation ×3. Mr. Henderson, how do you plead all those charges?
Well, I mean, so I got a question. Can I ask you any questions on this court case?
Yeah, being that you don't have a defense attorney, I feel that you're going to need to ask questions, so that's fine.
Oh, fantastic. Well, so what if I admit to some of this stuff, but I just don't want to go to wife in prison? Because my main point is that my entire mental evaluation and the decision made to put me in life in prison was made by somebody who has a conflict of interest. Because she evaluated me, but she also assisted in my capture. Because I tried to call her.
Well, you'd have to decide which one of those charges you would like to...
okay. All of them, then.
So you'd like to be guilty to all the charges,
No,
but
I like
you would
to
like
be...
to...
No, well, if I need to be not guilty to everything, then I'll be not guilty to everything.
All right, not guilty to everything. All right?
Or maybe no contest. What do you advise?
I can't advise you.
Well, what kind of help are you, then?
I'm the judge. I'm supposed to be in the middle. I can't advise you.
I understand now.
All right. Ms. West, would you like to give your opening statement?
Actually, ADA Dupre is the lead prosecutor on this one.
All right. Mr. Dupre, would you like to give your opening statement?
Yes. Greetings, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, today I seek to prove the truth about the dastardly deeds that occurred on June 2nd, 2019 by one Mr. Garfield Henderson. Mr. Henderson's actions of luring his victims, carving them up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and eating them are ones that are heinous, deplorable, and have no place in Los Santos. His crimes have affected people from all walks of life. I will seek to prove that Mr. Henderson is a menace, and it is for the good of all that Mr. Henderson be locked away so he can do no further harm.
Oh, is it my turn now?
It's your turn when I say it's your turn.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Now it's your turn.
Yes, I'd like to change
Your
the
opening
no
statement,
contest, please.
Well, if you plead no contest, then you're still accepting the charges, right? and then you go straight to sentencing.
Oh, is that
But-
right? Okay, then I'm gonna stay not guilty then.
All right. Come forward and give your opening statement.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Basically,
Ladies.
no contest means you didn't do it, but hey, you'll take the charges.
Okay, I understand. So, like, okay. Okay, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, you look absolutely scrumptious today. Especially you in the purple. That suit looks fantastic on you. So, I'd like to say that, there's a lot of misrepresentation about people like myself. And I understand that not everybody understands what it means to be into the kind of delicacies that I'm into. Some people like the color of purple. Some people like the color of orange. Well, you know what? I like the color of all kinds of colors. I don't want to go to jail for life. In fact, I think what the DA is gonna do over here is try to recommend putting me in prison forever. But the reality is, I like to change my ways. I'd like to run free and maybe have my mind and opinion changed. But they didn't let me do so, and you're gonna hear about that today. In fact, the same woman that was used by the police to try to get me originally was used to mentally evaluate me, and she didn't give me the opportunity to actually speak to her or give me another opportunity to meet me again. In fact, I think because she thought she was in danger from me, that she was going to come directly for me. She wants me in prison because she's afraid of me for no real reason. She's the one who needs to be mentally evaluated. Thank you. Oh, can I say thank you now?
I'd like to say thank you. You can say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you can go back.
Oh, can I dismiss her evidence, please?
When the evidence is brought up,
Okay, thank you.
you can
fantastic.
motion for it with
I
a
can
with a
motion.
reasonable reason.
Okay, I like the motion. Oh, you're looking scrumptious over there. How you doing?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, hello, Kizzy. How you doing? Are you on my
As you can
side?
see, the
I'm
lion
Can
has
you go
shown
back?
his claws.
Can you go back to your place, Mr. Garfield?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Are the people that are behind me on my side? Because
You're not allowed to talk to anyone behind you at
oh,
any
I see.
time.
Okay, understood, Your Honor.
You're not even allowed to make eye contact with them. Mr. Prey, would you like to call your first witness?
Yes. My first witness was going to be Mr. Murphy Braun. I have reached out to him and have not received an answer yet. So, and for the sake of the court and time, I will move forward. I'm going to call Mr. Pinto Patel to the stand.
Pinto Patel, please step forward.
Oh, yes, sir.
Judge Zabak, can you swear him in?
I will once he takes his place. Mr. Patel, please raise your left hand. All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you sin under pains and penalties of perjury? Yes, sir. He's been sworn in, Your Honor. You can put your arm down now. Thank you.
Thank you. How are you today, Mr. Patel?
All right, I'm doing all right. Just a little underneath the weather, but I'm doing all right.
Well, I hope you feel better. Can you state your name and occupation for the court?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Pinto Patel. I work over there at Harmony 68. I'm also a part-time manager at Facebook.
Okay. Where were you on June 2nd, 2019?
I was actually just clocking in for work over there at Route 68, ma'am, over there at Harmony Repairs.
Did you see Mr. Garfield Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Yes, further, my first customer of the day was coming in for a repair. I got a call, and yes, I do recall at the time, he pulling up there, but to be honest with you, he did not, disclose as Mr. Garfield at the time.
Interesting. He didn't disclose that he was Mr. Garfield. Also, can you speak up for the court?
I'm sorry.
when I finish my question?
Objection.
I'm not finished asking my question.
What? Well, if he objects, you finish asking your question until I respond to it.
Yes, asked and
What's the
answered.
objection? I'm gonna go ahead and overrule that, and I believe there was some communication issues, so I think there's a lot of this that need to be asked and re-answered.
From the beginning, Your Honor.
From the beginning.
Okay. Mr. Patel, can you speak up for the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Can everyone hear him?
Everyone good?
I can indeed.
Yes.
Good back here.
Okay.
I
Okay,
can hear
good,
from
very
back
good.
here.
Do we need the
Okay.
boom? I can bring the boom.
We should be okay, Mr. Eugene.
All right.
All right. All right, Mr. Patel, can you state your name and occupation for the court?
Yes, ma'am. I am Pinto Patel, and I work over there at Route 68 at Harmony Repairs, and also a part-time manager at the Facebook.
Where were you on June 2nd, 2019?
I was actually just getting into work, pulled over there at Route 68 and just clocking in to Harmony Repairs, ma'am, to start my day.
Did you see Garfield Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
I did see that man over there, Mr. Henderson. However, he did not disclose his name as Mr. Garfield.
What did he disclose his name as?
I believe it was a Billy or a Bobby. One of the two. I'm a little shaken up from the whole thing still.
That's okay. Take your time,
Yes, ma'am.
to compose yourself if you need to. What did he say when he met you at Harmony Garage?
Well, to be honest with you, right previously before that, I got a call from my boss saying that we had a customer going to be approaching Harmony Repairs to take good care of him. So I did see, while I was on the phone with my manager, Mr. Henderson over here decided to pull onto the property, get out, and he started to do a tour of our paint booth and our premises. So I went over there to help him, ma'am, to see if he needed some assistance.
What happened when you went over to assist him, Mr. Patel?
Well, he was really, inquiring about our paint booth, Miss Nora, and to be honest with you, I was showing him the paint booth, and he was asking if it was working. I let him know that it was under maintenance, and I just pulled into his car. I pulled out my car out of the bay and pulled in his car into our bay to see if it needed any TLC.
Okay. Sorry. I was a little distracted by some sounds. Anyway,
Oh.
after that, what happened, Mr. Patel? Continue on.
Oh, Miss Nora, to be honest with you, I went into his vehicle, asked for his keys, got into the driver's seat. I was taking a look, going to pop the hood to see if it needed any tender love and care. It seemed to be in great condition. And the minute I was going to pop the hood, I went in there to go check the latch and make sure everything was
Objection.
Gucci. And to be honest,
What's your objection?
Yes, I'd like to say leading, please. Or, narrative. Does
He
that
already
work?
started to begin to answer.
Oh, can I say it now, or do I have to say it, before he answers?
Well, an
I'm not a
objection when it
lawyer.
comes to narrative, well, that's the thing. An objection when it comes to narrative would be impossible to object if you don't hear the answer, because how
Okay.
would you know it'd be narrative?
Yes,
But,
of course.
That would be a correct objection. But
Oh,
I'm
I got
going to,
one.
But I'm going to overrule it because I want
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So do I say it before or when he starts answering?
to, whatever you feel it's a narrative.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. You're absolutely delightful, Your Honor.
Continue, Mr. Pratt.
Mr. Patel, you can continue.
okay, 10-4. Where was I? Oh, yes, I popped the latch for the hood, ma'am. And to be honest with you, I was about to, get my hands a little dirty. I had to put my gloves on and everything like that. And the minute I was about to get underneath the hood and just get dirty, he pulled out this dagger of some sort and just, oh my goodness.
You can take
Just
as
thinking
many if
about
you
it
need
just
to.
makes me, oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
He stabbed
Yes.
me. And
Pop it
Oh,
down,
yeah.
Mr. Henderson.
Oh,
Mr. Henderson, pop it down.
Yes,
oh
Your
my
Honor.
God. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't feel too good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I fell to my ground. I felt really weak, ma'am. And as I was falling, I was passing out. I was going in and out, ma'am. I was feeling malnourished. He started to carve a little piece of fillet me like a fish by my thigh, ma'am. Oh my goodness, my thigh hurts right now. It's scabbing. Oh my goodness. Oh, he decided to eat a piece of my skin and my meat, and then after that, I was in and out, but he was. Oh my goodness, he was sewing it back on, ma'am. Oh my goodness, Miss Nora. Oh.
Thank you for that. I can't imagine the horror that you went
Oh
through,
my
Mr.
goodness.
Patel.
Oh,
Now,
I'm just thinking about it. Oh my goodness.
do you need a minute, sir, before I continue my questioning?
Oh, I should be all right, ma'am.
Okay,
Oh.
very good. All right. Now, how has your life been after the attack on your life?
Well, to be honest with you, Miss Nora, every day I wake up, I have flashbacks. I go to sleep and I'm having dreams of this. I can't even work at Harmony by myself anymore. I'm always looking around, looking at my P's and my Q's, looking left to right, east to west, And to be honest with you, I can't work the same way I used to work. I used to be there solo, and now if no one else is there at Harmony and I'm just working by myself, well, let's just say I'm feeling very wary of working on anyone's cars these days. Been really tough on me, Miss Nora. I can't even sit down. I do a little bit of work over there, also at part-time doing logistics, and to be honest with you, I can't even sit down in my car seat properly. I went to the doctor. They took a little bit of skin from my left buttocks and put it on my thigh. So not only does my thigh feel a little sore, ma'am, my left butt cheek does as well.
I apologize for all that you've gone through, sir, and your suffering. I hope you get well. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, is it my turn now?
It is your time, Mr.
Oh,
Henderson. Would you like to
fantastic.
cross-examine?
How you doing today?
Oh, I've seen better days, to be honest with you.
You're looking absolutely dashing. I have to say, I admire your mustache.
Well, thank you.
What do you use exactly to get that mustache looking that way?
Mr. Henderson, get to the questions.
I'm sorry, was
Homemade,
there
by
an
the way.
objection, Your Honor?
Yeah, I want you to get to the questions.
Of course, I'm
You haven't
asking him a
asked any.
question. I am asking him a question. What kind of product do you use on your mustache?
Oh, it's a little bit of oil sheen and pomade, sir.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. When you were allegedly stabbed, were you sewn up? You said you were sewn up. How were you sewn up exactly?
What? I don't know, sir. To be honest with you, he had some kind of needle or something like that, and he kept just trying to patch it back on. I mean, he filleted you. You filleted me like a fish.
I'm sorry, sir. You said he filleted you. Who filleted you?
You filleted me. You know what happened, sir.
Oh yeah. And
Oh,
did I allegedly sew you back up in a very gentle manner along your thigh?
What I had, to be honest with you, I was blacking in and out. To be honest, all I just know is that my skin it looked like a piece of Texas on the right of my thigh. I don't know what it was. Oh my goodness. It just was, you were sewing it. I don't know what you would, I don't know. It felt like it was getting sewn back on. I'm not sure what, like stitches or something.
Did you bleed out there?
I was going in and out. I was bleeding out. But my manager came and he called the cops for me.
Your manager called the cops. Do you know what was the name of your manager?
Oh, it was Mr. Jordan Walker.
Is Mr. Jordan Walker here today?
I don't believe I see him at the current moment.
Oh, is that why? Are you sure that I did not actually call 911 on your behalf?
Objection asked and answered.
I'm going to sustain that.
Do I answer that?
You don't.
I think you do.
Next
yeah.
question, Mr. Henderson. You don't.
How well
I
do you?
sustain the objection. On to the next question.
Yes, you said that you were black and in and out. How well do you believe your memory was?
Oh,
Objection,
sir.
speculation.
Sustained. Different question. I'll reword it.
Oh, this is unfair. I let you talk, lady. Okay, I'm gonna. It's my turn now.
Well, this is a court of law, sir. There are rules here, and I'm abiding by them.
I'd like to object to the DA acting like a bitch, please.
You outbust like that again, Mr. Henderson, or use that profanity, I'll hold you in contempt. I'll cuff you and punch you in the back for a few minutes to calm you down. You understand me?
Yes, of course, Your Honor. I would love to have you pat me down, though.
All right, that's one contempt charge, Mr. Henderson. Keep it up.
Yes, of course, Your
Let's see
Honor.
what you're questioning.
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Prey, would you like to rebut that?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Patel, you can step down.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, before I call my next witness, may I have a request to have Mr. Henderson cuffed, considering his nature, the propensity of the crimes, and his behavior in the court today?
I'm going to deny that. I don't see how someone could represent themselves while they're in handcuffs, be able to come up and ask questions, and it also shows signs of guilt, and I don't like to have people show signs of guilt in front of me. I like to consider everyone innocent.
Understood, Your Honor.
There's an officer 2 feet from him. If Mr. Henderson decides to attack or hurt anyone like you allegedly presume he might, he'll be dealt with. Can you call your next witness?
Yes, my next witness is going to be Miss Mari Jones.
I don't even remember half my victims. Did I actually attack her?
Ms.
Mr.
Jones,
Locke,
will you
swear in?
please raise your left hand for me? Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you sin under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right. Hello, Mari. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, Nora. Thank you.
Very good. Can you state your name and occupation for the record?
Of course. My name is Mari Jones. I'm a paramedic with the Los Santos EMS.
How long have you been with the Los Santos EMS?
It's been about 2 months now, I believe.
Okay. Did you treat Murphy Braun on June 2nd, 2019, or transport?
I did Braun's initial treatment on the scene, yes.
Can you describe the scene when you arrived?
When I arrived on scene to treat him?
Yes.
When I arrived at Murphy Braun, he was bleeding pretty heavily from his thigh. He was still conscious with us. He told us that a man had filleted the skin from his thigh and had eaten it.
That answers my next question. And can you describe Mr. Braun's injury for the court?
Objection asked and answered.
What was the question again, Mr. Prey?
Can you describe Mr. Braun's injury for the court?
I don't think she ever described it.
No.
Henderson? I'm going to overrule
I
that.
believe she did, Your Honor.
Well, if I don't remember hearing it, then let's hear it again.
Okay, he had a chunk of his flesh on his inner thigh filleted from his body. It was bleeding pretty heavily. The edges were cut kind of like it would if a knife, kind of like if you sliced your hand.
So these were clean cuts, Miss Jones?
If I recall correctly, I believe they were.
All right. Did you treat Sunny D on June 2nd, 2019?
I did, yes.
Can you describe the scene when you arrived there?
When I arrived on scene to treat Sonny, he was lying on the ground bleeding. Also had a similar injury as Braun on his left inner thigh. He was also conscious and did mention that someone had filleted the skin off of his thigh.
Interesting. Can you describe Mr. D's injury?
Mr. D's injury was pretty similar to Braun's as well. Do I need to give the full description again?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it was skinned. I mean, everyone kind of knows how you fillet a fish. It's kind of like that, you know, cut and it was a deep cut. I don't believe it hit any arteries, but he was bleeding pretty badly from it. If I recall, the edges may have been smooth as well, kind of like cut from a knife.
So the injuries from Mr. D
Objection.
were consistent to the ones of
Leading.
Mr. Braun's.
And relevancy.
Repeat the question for the court so everyone can hit.
So the injuries that Mr. D sustained were consistent to the ones of Mr. Braun.
I'm going to sustain that as being leading, Mr. Prey. Please reword it.
Now, actually, I'll just move forward.
Ooh.
Did you treat Mr. Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
I did, yes.
Objection. Asked and answered.
I don't ever recall her saying, because there's a lot of names being brought up, but I don't ever hear him say anything about treating you. I'm going to overrule
Oh, you're talking
that.
about me this time? Oh, my apologies.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Okay. Can you describe the state of Mr. Henderson?
When I arrived on scene to treat Mr. Henderson, he had a gunshot wound to each arm as well as 4 gunshot wounds to the chest. He was not 100% conscious and his breathing was extremely labored.
All right. Was there anything else of note on Mr. Henderson?
I was more concerned with keeping him stabilized, so I did not see anything.
All right. In your time in Los Santos, have you ever seen anything like this?
Objection.
What went on here?
What's the
Speculation.
objection? Sustained.
Ooh.
Oh, indeed, sir. No further questions.
Mr. Henderson, would you like to question the witness?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. You, who are you?
I am Mari Jones, a paramedic with the Emergency Medical Services of Los Santos.
Ma'am, do you believe you have any relevancy for this case?
Objection,
sorry?
speculation.
Sustained.
Do you have a drinking problem?
Objection. Wow,
It
speculation.
is relevant, Your Honor, because if I might
The
explain.
objection wasn't relevancy, Mr. Henderson. The objection was speculation, and that question is a speculatory question.
Oh, is it now? Okay. What day did these events take place?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
How long have you been working at the EMS?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Would I make for a good lawyer?
Objection, speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
All right, fantastic. I'm good here. I have no fucking idea.
You're doing great. You're really doing great.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
a good effort, Mr. Henderson.
Thank
Good
you. I
job.
appreciate that.
You're doing really
Mr.
good.
Prey, would you like to rebut all those questions that were objected?
No, Your Honor. Not at
All
this
right.
time, no.
All right, you can step down, miss. Mr. Prey, would you like to call another witness?
Yes. I don't believe Mr. Braun or Mr. Rahim will be in attendance. So I
Chad,
will
I
go
appreciate you
ahead
guys
and
trying to
call
help.
Miss,
This character is
Officer
not supposed to be
Emily
good
Reinhardt to the
at
stand.
being a lawyer.
Ms. Reinhardt, step forward. Take the stand.
Yeah, I can't use your assistance. We're not trying to win here. You know what I mean?
Ms. Reinhardt, will you please raise your left arm? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth,
No,
and
just
nothing
some
but
of
the
the-
truth, so help you Slasher, under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
It's been sworn in, Your Honor.
How are you today, Officer Reinhardt?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Can you state your name and occupation for the court?
I'm Emily Reinhardt. I'm a cadet within the Los Angeles Police Department.
All right. Did you get a call regarding Murphy Braun on June 2nd, 2019?
We received a dispatch call about an injured person. Yes.
All right. On arrival, what did you see?
I spotted a black and colored two-door sports vehicle, and just in between two buildings. One was a fish market, and the other one was a large building, just off of Palomino Ave.
What happened when you arrived?
I had arrived on scene. I checked the area for an individual. I didn't see anybody. Medics had arrived on scene, and we checked the area. We got closer to a ladder, and we heard a voice say, "Do not come up."
Can you describe the voice?
Flamboyant, a little lispy, a little.
Objection. Speculation.
Sustained.
Was Air 1 called to the scene?
It was.
Why was it called to the scene, Officer Reinhardt?
We had an individual state, "Do not come up here." So I insisted for Air 1 to show up to check the area for anybody up there on the building.
I apologize. I did not hear. Did you say the voice said something?
Yep.
Objection.
The voice
Asked and
stated
answered.
not to come up.
I think there was some hearing problems. Let's just start this from the beginning of the question. So I'm going to overrule that objection. I'm going to head
All right.
out.
You said there was a voice that said something. What did the voice say?
The voice had stated not to come up to the top of the building.
So the voice said not to come up to the building. Was later identified the owner of the voice?
Objection.
I am
Leading.
not.
Sustained.
Do you hear anyone in the courtroom that sounds like that voice, Officer Reinhardt?
Objection.
I do.
Speculation.
Sustained.
In your time in the city, have you seen anything like this?
Objection.
Officer Reinhardt.
Speculation.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Ooh. I'm getting better at this. Do we have like a lot of other witnesses? Because I feel like I'm going to get pretty good at the end.
I believe there's a lot of them, Mr. Henderson.
Ooh.
Go ahead and continue with your questioning.
Just a moment, Your Honor. I'm trying to recall the scenario a little bit. I didn't have much time to prepare. I'm sorry. What's your name, madam?
Objection
Emily-
asked and answered.
Sustained.
Do you like meat?
Objection. Relevance.
What's the relevancy in that, Mr. Henderson?
Yes, of course. I'm not sure if she might have been interested in the dish that might have been served.
I am going to agree with Mr. Prey and sustain that objection.
Okay. Do you have any biases against sexual orientations?
Objection. Relevance.
What's the relevancy, Mr. Henderson?
Well, I mean, she was trying to imply certain things earlier, and I'm trying to understand whether there's a bias taking place here.
Imply like what?
Well, I think there was a lot of, I don't know, individuals like myself who like to indulge in certain...
You know what? I'm going to allow the question. I'm going to overrule
fantastic.
that. Go ahead and answer.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Yes, do you have any biases against any types of individuals?
I do not.
Wait, did we win this one or what?
I haven't given the verdict, so
Oh, fantastic.
no, not yet.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Prey, would you like to rebut that?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Reinhardt, you can step down.
Good job.
Oh
my.
Oh my God.
The
That's
man
a-
with the ball
holy
in his face
shit!
yet again attacked someone in the courtroom.
Okay.
I need medical, please.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, gotcha.
The bruise has attacked this poor woman. Which man
can
would
I
jump
call
in
my
as a
next
white
witness?
knight?
The man in the blue, come over here and step
You
forward.
might need medical cross.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jump too. What's your major malfunction?
I'm okay. Thank you, Hayes.
None, Your Honor.
Seems like you've had
I
tons
mean,
of issues in this courtroom.
Not at all. I mean, I've been standing right over there in the back room against the door.
That's strike number 2. Your third strike, you out of here. You understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go back.
Jump.
Mr. Prairie, you have another witness?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I wish to call Sarah Ableton to the stand, please.
Miss Ableton, please raise your left arm. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you Slasher under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
How
All
are
right,
you
please
today, Miss
proceed.
Ableton?
I'm doing well.
Very good to hear. Can you state your name and occupation for the record?
Yes. My name is Sarah Ableton, and I'm a paramedic with Los Santos EMS.
How long have you been with the Los Santos EMS?
I have been with EMS for approximately 2 to 3 months.
Okay. Did you treat or transport Pinto Patel on June 2nd, 2019?
Yes. I was a part of Pinto Patel's call. I arrived on the scene with EMT Hayes, and when we arrived on scene, we did find that there was a chunk of missing flesh on his eye, and at that time, we did pack his wounds with gauze and get him transported to Pillbox Medical.
Okay. All right. So you said that there was a chunk of flesh missing from his thigh and you packed it. Did Mr. Patel seem to be in pain?
Objection. Leading.
Objection? That's not leading, but that definitely is speculation. Could it be word that, Mr. Prey?
Speculation, yes, is what I meant.
Did Mr. Patel say anything at the time of your treatment?
Yes, he did. He did state that he was in severe pain when we arrived on scene.
Did you treat Mr. Murphy Braun on June 2nd, 2019, or transport?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Can you describe what happened for the call regarding Mr. Braun?
Yes. We arrived at the call, which
Speculation.
was around
Objection.
Objection.
Narrative.
Repeat the question again, Mr. Prey.
Can you describe what happened for the call regarding Mr. Braun?
I'm going to go ahead and overrule that. I want to hit. Just keep it brief as you can, Miss Ableton.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We arrived on scene. We waited for police to call code 4, which is to allow us to enter the scene. We went to the top of the building where Mr. Murphy was found. He was complaining of a chunk of flesh that was missing from his inner thigh.
Objection.
Myself and paramedic Jones.
Asked and answered.
Which part?
Well, some of this that's being described.
It is, but it's not actually questions being asked by Mr. Prey. It's just a description of what happened in the events. A small
I
summary.
see. Okay. Continue on, Miss.
Okay, no problem. So as I said, we were on scene, and he did note that there was a chunk of flesh missing from his inner thigh. At that time, we did treat him on scene and get him transported to Box Medical for further treatment.
All right. Lastly, in your time in the city, have you ever responded to a call involving cannibalism?
Objection.
No, ma'am.
What's the objection?
Hearsay.
I don't. Who's the? What? I don't know. Overruled.
What? Okay.
No, I've not received a call regarding cannibalism before this time.
Thank you very much. No further questions.
Henderson, you got any questions?
Oh, yes, of course. Are you familiar with my reviews?
Objection outside the scope.
That's going to be sustained. Mr. Henderson, you can only ask questions that are in the scope of what Mr. Prey asked.
Oh, only within the scope? Oh, that's too bad. Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Miss Ableton, I didn't tell you to step down nor to climb my walls.
My apologies, sir. My apologies. I apologize, sir. Apologies.
You can step down. Mr. Prey, you have any witnesses?
I would like to call Mr. William Hayes to the stand, please.
Mr. Hayes, please raise your left arm. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
Continue,
All
Mr. Prey.
right. Sure. How are you today, Mr. Hayes?
A little stressed, but I'm doing all right.
I hope you feel better, sir. And it's, regarding this case, it's understandable. State your name and occupation for the record, please.
No problem. I'm William Hayes. I'm the EMT at Pillbox Medical.
How long have you been with Los Santos CMS?
It's been about a month and a half now.
All right. Did you transport Mr. Pinto Patel on June 2nd, 2019?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe the scene at your arrival for Mr. Patel?
I didn't end up treating Mr. Patel, so all I saw was when we arrived, there was a pool of blood under him, and then I just set up, ready to transport him.
All right. Did you transport Sunny D on June 2nd on 2019?
Sunny D? Yes, I also transported him.
All right. Did you transport Garfield Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Mr. Garfield, Mr. Henderson, yes, I transported him as well.
Can you describe the nature of that call?
Well, it definitely wasn't as bad as some of the previous calls, so it was kind of hard for me to remember, but there was gunshot wounds and we were able to stabilize and get him to the hospital.
Was Mr. Henderson handed off to a doctor?
Yes, he was. He was handed off to Dr. Andrews.
What happened after you handed off Henderson to Dr. Andrews?
Well, the hospital was very busy. It was quite a chaotic day, and as I handed it off, I checked over a few other patients before leaving, and Dr. Andrews, my mistake. She asked for some assistance.
What did you assist her with, Mr. Hayes?
She needed assistance with Mr. Henderson, and he seemed to have these things inside of his mouth. So she wanted me to remove them. So I took them out one by one, and these kind of chunk-sized pieces. We kind of realized that they were human flesh.
Are you all right? Do you need a moment to compose yourself, sir?
I'll be fine to keep going.
Yeah. All right, sir. Did you find anything else on Mr. Henderson?
Yes. After I removed all the chunks and put them into a tray, I checked his fingernails and they were covered and full of dry blood, fresh new blood, and bits of skin.
Have you ever responded to a call involving cannibalism in the city of Los Santos?
Something like cannibalism? I mean, this city can get pretty crazy, but nothing as disgusting and inhumane as that.
How has this affected your daily life, Mr. Hayes?
It's definitely put a lot of stress, and it's put a new aspect on how I should view the city and how many people are out there that could do kind of things.
Thank you very much. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson, would you like to ask some questions?
Yes, of course. What other kind of patients were in the hospital that day?
Objection, relevance.
Yes. Yeah, the witness over here said that the call that he answered to wasn't as bad as the others, so I'm trying to understand what these comparisons are exactly.
All right. I'm going to allow this question, but I want to make it perfectly clear.
Yes, of
that any questions that you answer with this, or any response, you can't bring up anyone's name or who they are, because that would be a violation of HIPAA. Okay, so you just need it if you want to answer, or if you're going to answer this, but you're going to answer it very discreetly. You understand me?
Yes, sir. I understand you.
All right. I'm going to allow this question. I'm going to overrule that objection.
There were some people that had gunshot wounds, and there were some fights that had happened, so there were a lot of bruising. It was nothing really serious, just kind of, the usual Los Santos patients.
I'm sorry. Can I do anything here? Because, like, on one hand, he said one thing. Isn't that perjury?
I'm sorry?
What are you talking about,
Well,
Mr.
I mean,
Henderson?
on one hand, he said one thing, and now he's saying something else. He said it was not serious, and now these other injuries are actually not serious. I don't think he's making up his mind. I think it's perjury.
Objection. Is this a question?
I don't see anything wrong with his responses, Mr. Henderson.
Yes, of course. I must. Yes. No further questions, sir.
Okay.
Frey, you have any rebuttals?
I do not at this time. No.
You can step down.
Thank you.
Frey, you have another witness?
I would like to call Detective Vladimir Raven to the stand.
I don't want to object too much, because if you object too much, then you don't really get to hear the other person. I don't think that's necessarily good for RP. You know what I mean?
Please raise your left hand for me.
Especially in this case.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury, sir.
So help me, Slasher, I do.
He's been sworn in, Your Honor.
Mr.
How
Frey,
are you
continue with the question.
today? How are you today, sir?
A little buried in paperwork, but otherwise quite well, Miss Dupre.
Very good. Can you state your name and occupation for the record?
Absolutely. My name is Vladimir Raven, and I am a detective with the LSPD, as well as acting chairman and union boss for the CID Police Union.
How long have you been part of LSPD, sir?
Well over 12 months at this stage.
So a long time. Did you help apprehend Garfield Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Yes, I did.
How did you do so?
I coordinated with the officers available and the briefing that was given to me to conduct a sting operation.
Yo, Luca, thank you for the 20 months, man.
When is it decided that sting operations are necessary?
A sting operation is necessary when other means of detainment and arresting may not be safe to the general public.
Why did you do that for Mr. Henderson?
Due to the heinous acts of what was reported to me through the briefings as I'd come out of my office and on duty, I believe that the absolute danger to the general public if this man had stayed on the streets and we were just doing a general manhunt would not acquaint to my service and duty to the people.
Can you briefly describe the events of the sting operation for Mr. Henderson?
Absolutely. Miss Nevaeh was contacted by Mr. Henderson, to which she alerted us. We then got with her and I planned out a sting operation where I would pose as her in drag using clothing from the Lost and Found, as well as 2 get well balloons in the hospital, where we would then meet Mr. Henderson at a disclosed location, which was Bahama Mamas, where he would then enter and I would turn around and be myself as a detective and detain him safely.
All right, what happened at Bahama Mamas?
Air One spotted the vehicle. Mr. Henderson was originally parked across the road from it. As myself and Miss Nevaeh pulled in, I got out of the vehicle and entered. Air One reported the vehicle, then moved up towards the vehicle that myself and Miss Nevaeh were in, scoped it out, got spooked, and left the scene in a hurry.
Was Mr. Henderson identified by you or any of the officers at this time?
I believe so. I personally did not, as I was inside the building.
All right. Were you involved in the subsequent chase involving Mr. Henderson?
No, I arrived after the aftermath, after making sure Miss Nevaeh had returned to a safe location.
All right. Now, in your time in Los Santos, have you ever dealt with the case involving cannibalism?
Objection. Speculation.
It's not speculatory. It's either a yes or a no.
Isn't it making
to
speculation
answer
as
the
to whether
question.
it's actually cannibalism or not?
Well, I mean, that's if you feel like he doesn't know the definition of cannibalism. Mr. Raven, you know the definition of cannibalism? You think you know what that means?
To the best of my knowledge, I believe I do, Your Honor.
Well, I mean, that would be like Mr. Henderson saying that no one any word whatsoever is speculation, because I might not understand it.
Okay, I understand, Your Honor. I'll be sure to ask that.
Go ahead and repeat the question, Mr. Prey, and then let him answer.
Yes. In your time in Los Santos, were you ever involved with the case involving cannibalism?
During my long and tenured career here in the Los Santos Police Department as an officer and detective, I have never witnessed nor been a part of any investigation that pertains to the heinous, violent, and overall disgusting acts that Mr. Garfield Henderson has pushed against the people of Los Santos.
Ooh. Thank you very much. No further questions, Your Honor.
Oh,
Ms.
my
Henderson,
turn.
would you like the question?
Yes, Your Honor. I would. Excuse me. Hello, how you doing today? You're looking absolutely scrumptious.
Quite well.
What is the definition of cannibalism?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Actually, it
That
wasn't.
wasn't answered. I'm going to overrule that. Mr. Raven, I don't expect you to know the exact Webster definition of cannibalism, but can you describe
The
your
definition of
understanding
cannibalism, to the best of my knowledge, is to feast on the meat of your own species.
Detective, you said you are part of the CID. What is the CID exactly?
The CID stands for the Criminal Investigation Division. It was previously a separate department tasked with its own leadership, to which I reigned over as lieutenant and led the department. However, due to recent budget cuts, we dissolved and were merged into the separate departments of the Los Santos Police Department and Blaine County Sheriff's Office. We serve the city as their detective unit and main intelligence force.
Detective, did you lose your previous position due to this restructuring?
Objection,
merged into
relevant. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. Did you lose your previous position due to this restructuring? I'm trying to understand whether or not the CID was
No,
able to
I got
actually,
you. I
yeah.
got you. I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna allow it.
My previous, as stated before, my previous position was dissolved due to budget cuts, so therefore there was not a rank for me to technically lose, as I was transitioned into a detective role where I upheld the rank of union boss and chairman of the CID police union.
Ooh, is that what we call it now? I have another question here. Let me just try to understand how I'm going to say this. Do you believe cannibalism is illegal?
Objection.
I'm trying to understand whether this officer actually knows the law, which is going to be
Henderson,
relevant to some of the things he said.
I do understand what you're trying to ask, but you're starting your question with "Do you believe?" which is anytime you start
cannibalism
with that.
illegal?
There we go.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Henderson, regarding our current penal code, it is not listed in there in any way. However, I do believe it a basic violation of human rights.
So would you... Is your testimony legitimate due to bias?
Objection. Speculation.
Same.
Ooh, thank you.
The prayer, you got any rebuttal?
Yes.
Keep it in the scope.
Yes, sir. You were previously asked, do you know what cannibalism is? And you answered that this is a violation of basic rights. Is that correct?
Different question, but yes, I did answer that to the last question asked to me.
Is, by that token, is eating the flesh out of another human being's thighs a basic human rights violation?
In my personal and professional opinion, yes, I do believe so.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Can I re-cross-examine, please?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
You have to keep it in the scope of what she just asked.
Of course. Is cannibalism legal as per California law?
Objection asked and answered.
It was not asked and answered.
I just want to go ahead and put out there that we do not fall under California law. We follow the Los Santos law.
Of course. Is the Los Santos law, Your Honor, a subset? Or is our penal code a subset of California law?
It has similarities, but to be quite honest with you, it's completely different.
Your Honor, are we able to reference California law in this courtroom? Court cases?
You can reference California statutes in California law, but as far as things in our penal code and charges, we have our own penal code.
I think this is going to still be relevant for my closing arguments, Your Honor.
Okay.
So the question again is cannibalism legal in California?
To the best of my knowledge, after my years of study of the Los Santos Penal Code, I do not believe there to be a charge specifically designated towards cannibalism.
Thank you. Ooh.
Did you say something, Your Honor? I couldn't hear you.
I didn't.
Okay.
Would you like to rebut that, Mr. Prey?
Yes. While you said there's nothing in the Los Santos Penal Code for cannibalism, are there things in the Penal Code, Detective Raven, with crimes concerning cannibalism, such as stabbing?
Objection, speculation, and leading.
I'm going to sustain that.
Is stabbing in the Penal Code?
Objection.
What's the objection?
Straw man.
I don't think that's an objection, Mr. Henderson.
Relevance.
I think this is pretty relevant.
Leading.
I'm going to allow it.
Okay.
No.
Outside the scope.
It's in the scope. We're talking about the charges.
Okay, of course. I just want to give her one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you took the Chang approach. I respect that.
Would you like me to repeat that, Detective?
One more time, Mr. Prey.
Is stabbing in the Penal Code?
Stabbing, as well as any other crime relating to physical bodily harm that may result in injury, death, or battery, is in the Penal Code. That is correct.
Thank you very much. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson,
Yes.
would you like to rebut that?
Let me think. No, Your Honor. I think I'm good.
Alrighty. Detective, you can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ray, you have any other
would-
witnesses?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Deputy Thomas Metzger. To the stand, please. If he's here.
Excuse me.
Oh,
sorry.
All right, Deputy Metzger, will you please raise your left arm? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
All right, continue with the question, Mr. Prey.
Hello, Deputy. How are you tonight?
Good, Mr. Dupre. Just for the correction, it's Officer Metzger.
Oh, corrections officer. My apologies, sir. How, can you
Wait,
state your name and
what?
occupation?
It's Thomas Metzger, ma'am. I'm an officer with the LSPD, not a corrections officer.
excuse me.
And I'm not a deputy.
His voice.
It's really bad, sir.
Robot.
Maybe he's part of the robotics division. I don't know.
I'm
Mr.
not part of the robotics division, Your Honor. Is that better?
Oh, it's better.
It is.
Much better. Okay.
Would you like me to repeat what I stated?
Yes, just to state your name and occupation, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Thomas Metzger. I'm an officer, not a corrections officer, nor a deputy with the LSPD.
I apologize, Officer Metzger. Were you involved in the arresting and subsequent apprehension of Mr. Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe the events of the chase of Mr. Henderson?
Yes, ma'am. I was alerted. Oh, I will back up first. We were previously staged in the vicinity of the Bahama Mama, waiting for the signal to move in to assist in the apprehension of Mr. Henderson. Once we were alerted that he was leaving the area, we were told to move in and attempt to pull his vehicle over. He failed to yield and continued down Great Ocean Highway, northbound, at speeds around 50 miles an hour with myself and Deputy Williams in pursuit. I was a primary officer. He was a secondary officer in the pursuit. After a short pursuit, we were in the Zancudo area of Route 68 off-road, came back onto Route 68, and his vehicle was disabled by striking an officer's vehicle as well as a civilian vehicle. At that point, I exited my vehicle with my sidearm drawn on him, ordered him to show his hands. at which point he exited the vehicle and attacked me.
Did he attack you? How, officer?
Yes, ma'am. So I observed him directly exit the vehicle. I identified a knife in his hand. He moved towards the front left of my vehicle. My vehicle is positioned on the back left, the driver's side rear quarter panel of his vehicle. So I had a very good view of him as he exited. He ran towards the front of my vehicle and around. And as he did so, I engaged him with my sidearm as I took that as a threat. He entered melee range with me. Attempted to stab me in the abdomen. The first strike was absorbed by my vest, but the second one penetrated and made about what entered my body at that point.
Were you rendered unconscious by this stabbing?
I was not unconscious, but I was incapacitated, and I dropped to the ground due to my wounds.
All right. How has this affected your life?
Outside of the injury, it has not affected my professional life in the slightest, other than having a nice scar in my abdomen now.
In your tenure in the LSPD, have you ever been involved in cases with cannibalism?
No, I have not, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Henderson, would you like to ask any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. How you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. You're looking awfully nice today.
Oh, thank you, sir.
In your tenure as an officer, has anyone stabbed you worse than I have?
Objection, speculation, and let the record show that Mr. Henderson just admitted to stabbing Officer Metzger.
That will be on the record.
Oh, thank you.
And I will sustain that objection.
Your Honor, I would like to try to figure out if I'm not actually admitting to stabbing him. I'm just saying, like, because that's the line of questioning.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you didn't go about that the right way, Mr. Henderson.
Oh, of course not. Okay, well, where did the alleged person that stabbed you, have you been stabbed worse than that in the past?
Objection, speculation.
No, that's your objective.
Fuck, I want to go with something.
Mr. Henderson, you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
It sounds like.
I'm absolutely fine. I'm just trying to get some words out regarding something. Give me a second here. How many times were you stabbed?
In this incident, sir, or in general?
In general.
Objection, speculation.
I mean,
well, it would be a matter of record, would it not?
Technically, that's not speculation. So let me get this straight, Mr. Henderson. You're asking how many times he's been stabbed his whole life?
That's correct. While on the duty.
Are you able to answer that, Mr. Metzger? On duty, how many times you've been stabbed your whole life?
I would not be able to give an accurate count, Your Honor.
Would you say you have been stabbed over 24 times while on duty?
Objection.
Asked and answered.
Well, it was not answered.
That's a different question. It wasn't asked and answered, Mr. Pratt.
No, I would not say I've been stabbed more than 24 times.
Would you say you were stabbed 12 times?
I would say it would be closer to that number, yes.
In those incidents, did any of the perpetrators go to prison for life?
I don't believe I'm actually able to answer that without looking at reports, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll take a recess.
To your best
then.
knowledge. It's, to your best knowledge. Can you recall any of them going for life?
That would not be in line with the penal code.
What is the
Also,
prescribed?
Mr. Henderson, you don't decide if we go to recess. I decide.
Oh, is that right? Okay, sorry about that, Your Honor. What is the prescribed amount of sentencing for stabbing a police officer?
Well, that would be at the discretion of the officer and what they decide to press charges against you with. If it's attempted second-degree murder of a peace officer, which would be a heat of the moment attempt, it would be 120 months, sir.
And what is the prescribed amount of time for first-degree murder?
Premeditated murder, sir, would be a hold until trial, and you would be brought forth for a trial. And then it would be deliberated in the courtroom.
So there is first-degree murder worse than second-degree murder in the penal code?
In my opinion, yes, it is premeditated. Based on the statutes at hand, as it is a hold until trial, you are brought before a judge, and in my experience, you are more likely to be charged accordingly if done so.
Have you ever, in those cases, from your best recollection, recall someone spending life in prison for stabbing in first-degree murder?
I have not been
Objection asked and answered.
It's not asked and answered due to it being filtered?
It was asked and answered. He already said that
Okay.
he doesn't recall anyone being sent to.
So in the cases that you were not stabbed and your fellow officers were potentially stabbed, have you ever heard of anybody going to prison for life for stabbing somebody?
Objection, speculation.
I'm going to sustain that.
After being stabbed, how much time did you spend off duty?
Objection, relevance.
What is the relevance of all this, Mr.
Yes,
Henderson?
I'm trying to figure out how bad that stab wound was. If it was he was out of duty for like an entire 5 years, then it's probably pretty bad. If he got back into duty like, I don't know, like a day later, well then that's a much less of a stabbing, wasn't it?
I'm going to overrule that objection, and I want to hear this. Go ahead and answer it, Mr. Metzger.
So I did return to duty to assist with processing of this situation. However, I would not feel comfortable speaking on professional grounds about the extent of the injury as Dr. Andrews did my treatment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Prey, would you like to rebuttal?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Officer Metzger, you can step down. Mr. Bray, do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do. I would like to call Deputy Williams to the stand.
Deputy Williams, please step forward.
Deputy Williams, please raise your left arm. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
Okay, I will go forward. How are you today,
I've been
Deputy
loving this.
Williams?
Under the circumstances, I'm,
I want to
what was
try
that,
a little
sir?
bit, but not too try hard. You know
sorry,
what I mean?
under the circumstances, I'm not doing too bad.
All right, can you state your name and
Blowski, thank you
occupation
for
for
the
the
6 months,
record?
man. Appreciate that,
Deputy
dude.
Clarence Williams with the Blaine County Sheriff's Office.
All right, were you involved in the sting operation and subsequent apprehension of Garfield Henderson?
Yes, I was.
All right. When is it necessary?
Yeah, thank you,
when is it deemed
investigator.
necessary to do sting operations?
Much love, brother, man.
As
3
Raven
months, baby.
explained, officer discretion depending on the circumstances of the criminal, what they've done, and what can be done to get them off the street as soon as possible.
All right. Can you briefly describe the sting operation and apprehension?
Yes, so we had information of a place where our
Yeah,
suspect
what
was
up,
going to be, Mr.
Raiders?
Henderson, and we had all units
How you
that
doing,
were available
gentlemen?
currently stationed nearby
I like eating
the
human flesh.
station meat spot, which was going to be originally the pier, but that changed to Bahama Mama's last minute. All units were we had 3 ground units around, and then we had Air 1 in the sky. We weren't taking any chances of letting them slip out from under.
So I should probably mention.
No. Go ahead. I
Since you
interrupted
guys
you.
just joining, we're not gonna. We're intentionally not trying really hard to win
would
here.
you like me to explain how it went
Just
down,
enough
or just-
to
I do
provide
have
a
questions.
defense, but not
I
too
do have
much to
questions.
make it feel unreal.
Why was
'cause
the location changed?
my guy's not a lawyer. You know what I mean?
To the best of my knowledge, I'm
We don't wanna
unsure.
object
I
too
believe
much
the
either.
suspect might have gotten spooked last minute and wanted to change. I don't recall exactly why, but I do recall that it did change.
All right. Continue with your telling, sir.
So we had units around. I was on ground in my vehicle, as well as Metzger was in his vehicle, and we got word from Detective Raven that the suspect needed to be moved on as soon as possible now. So myself and Metzger moved in from where we were, opposite locations of Bahama Mamas, and Air 1 gave us the direction of travel of the vehicle that Mr. Henderson was in. It was the red
Check the door, shoes.
Pinto. We got eyes on him when he was on Great Ocean Highway, and we immediately turned our lights and sirens on, at which we began to pursue him. As soon as road conditions and weather conditions were clear, we attempted a pit maneuver due to the circumstances and the crimes committed. Pitts were slightly successful at disabling his vehicle momentarily. However, he continued until he got to the Zancudo Bridge, at which he drove off-road into the swamp just south of the Zancudo Air Base.
All right. What happened when you caught up to Garfield after the pit?
Once we caught up to him, he sped off again, like I said, to the swamp at the Zancudo Air Base. He was driving in the swamp for a little bit. We kept eyes. I was just behind him since I had the truck.
Henderson is a nice guy, man. He just wants food reviews.
As soon as he got out of the swamp back onto the road on Route 68, I performed one more pit maneuver that was successful. It spun him out and his vehicle was disabled. I maintained my distance and I stepped out of my vehicle with my assault rifle, at which the suspect got out of his vehicle and began running at Officer Metzger. It was unclear exactly why he was running at him, but once I positioned myself on the other side of the vehicle, I was able to see the knife in his hand, and I watched him stab Officer Metzger. It was 3 times in total. He stabbed him, getting him in and under the vest. And once Metzger fell and Garfield was clear from Metzger, that's when I discharged my weapon and I shot him, hitting him a couple times in the chest. And at that point, I secured the knife off of his person. It was a dagger of sorts. And I immediately rushed over to Metzger to make sure he was...
Yeah, I know it's a narrative. We're letting these guys
So
speak
you felt it necessary to dispatch
for better RP.
of Mr. Henderson.
Too many
at this time,
objections are a
correct?
resident sleeper.
100%.
All right. Now, did you respond quickly? I want to go back a bit. Did you respond to a call that involved Murphy Braun on June 2nd?
Yes, I did.
And quickly, briefly, can you describe what happened for that call?
Officer Reinhardt dispatched over the radio that she needed potential 77, which is a backup request. There was a 47, which is an injured person, later ID'd as Mr. Braun. she claimed that when medics and officers
Yeah, I agree.
were
No, I agree. The witness list is insane. I mean, I'm going to admit to everything at the end, but I felt bad because so many people came that.
warning them not to
Jesus
go
Christ!
near the body.
Oh, look at this dude.
Because
Yo,
of that,
Vader!
I requested
it's the work of the
devil right there.
Yo, thank you so much, man, for the host and raid. I appreciate that, dude.
Up there with the body, so we can get officers and EMS.
I would feel really bad if I admitted to everything when all these people showed up.
No one else was up there. So
that's why I
went
didn't
up the ladder. I was the first one up there,
no contest.
just to make sure for 100% that no one was up there.
There's 17
EMS
people on the
followed
witness
me.
list.
Miss Jones, she was.
I
the
stabbed a
EMS
lot
on
of
scene.
people.
And she
Going on,
tended
Raiders.
to,
Welcome,
Mr.
boys.
Braun, while I kind of just overlooked, making sure no one was up there.
Thank you very much. Now, after
No, it's 17.
Henderson's
I
initial
stabbed a shitload of people.
apprehension, did you receive another call from him?
From Mr. Garfield?
Yes.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it was later that night. He 311'd with the prison phone requesting that an officer come down and get him some food. Felt like he might pass out eventually. Said they weren't feeding him.
7 people I
at which
stabbed.
Park Ranger Clarkson responded. He went down there. I advised Mr. Deputy Clarkson over the radio of Mr. Garfield's crimes and to be alert and be aware. And yeah.
And how did that call go for Park Ranger Clarkson, to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, it went probably the worst that it could have. We received a 1013 shortly after Clarkson arrived on scene at the prison.
Can you, for the court, what is a 1013?
I'm sorry, a 1013 is an officer down.
So just so he arrived
Objection.
at the prison and then.
What's the objection?
Leading.
Can you repeat the question, Mr. Prey? The first one that was asked before you started this
Objection,
one, the last
resident
one?
sleeper. Come on.
I asked what a 1013 was.
I'm with him. It's
All right.
like,
What was the
we've already
question,
heard all
Henderson,
this.
that you were objecting because you did it like in the middle of 2 different questions.
Yes, of course. It's just going on and on and on, and we heard this already. Can we just get to the point?
Well, you haven't really objected any narratives,
Oh,
and you
of
had every
course.
opportunity to do so. Many
No,
times.
I realized, but I figured like if it narrates for long enough, then everything would be like a leading and speculation afterwards.
Do you have somewhere to be, Mr. Henderson?
Oh no, of course not. It's just like, sorry. Please continue, Nora.
All right, I'm gonna overrule that. Continue.
All right. As I was saying,
Before you start, Nora, Mr. Clarence, whenever Nora asks you a yes or no question, you don't respond with a yes or no and then describe everything that involved that question, unless she asks you to describe everything that involved that question.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So Park Ranger Clarkson arrived at the prison, and then you received a 1013 call. Is that correct?
It was shortly after he was there, yes.
Did you go to Bolingbrook Penitentiary after that?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe the events of what happened there?
I went with Deputy Delaney as well as Trooper Soze, and due to the circumstances,
Oh, this is a different event.
Soze suggested we go in there with non-lethal due to what had happened. So myself,
Objection.
Delaney, and Soze.
Narrative.
I'm gonna sustain that. This a lot of these questions have been a huge narrative. Let's just get to the point.
Ooh.
Did you see Mr. Henderson at Bolingbrook Penitentiary?
Yes, I did.
Where did you see him?
I saw him hiding in a bush.
How did you find Mr. Henderson?
While securing all the areas, checking the bushes with Delaney, I believe the suspect touched Delaney while he was in the bush, and Delaney got frightened and jumped out of there. So we knew he was in that bush at that point.
Oh, that scene was awesome. I scared the shit out of him.
Oh, right. How... Oh, give me a second, please.
Yeah, dude, the RP lasted 6 hours total on this character. We
Did Mr.
stabbed
Henderson
7
say anything
individuals and
when
ate
he
their
was
meat,
apprehended a second time?
including one in prison.
He made a few comments, didn't really say too much though.
What were these comments?
While transporting him to the ward to get medical attention.
Objection,
there was a guard
narrative.
on the ground.
Insane. All these narratives are driving me insane.
I agree, Your Honor.
Did Mr. Henderson mention any meals at all?
Yes, he did.
Oh, thank you. I'm
What
not
meal
that
did he mention?
scary.
He mentioned a soup with an unconscious guard who was lying on the ground.
A soup. What about the soup?
Objection, leading.
I don't. That's not really leading.
Narrative.
Mr. Clarence brought up the soup. No, I want to hear this. Not really a narrative either.
He made some very disturbing mouth sounds and asked if we were going to do anything with that body. Very similar to those sounds, and he asked if he'd be able to use it. It being the security guard that was unconscious at the prison.
So he asked to make a soup out of the unconscious prison guard at
Objection,
Bolingbroke prison.
Afton answered.
I'm going to sustain that.
I wasn't finished, but that's all right.
Finish the question and make it so it's not asked and answered.
That's fine. We can move forward. Were you involved in any cases involving cannibalism in the city of Los Santos?
Never in my time, no.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Henderson, would you like to ask any questions?
Yes, of course. Hello. In your time as a police officer, how many people have spent life in prison over a stabbing that you're familiar with?
Objection, speculation.
No, I'm going to allow that.
To my knowledge, none.
How many people have gotten life in prison?
I believe
Objection,
one?
scope.
Well, I mean, you were questioning him about being at the prison, and whenever he was arrested, and Mr. Clarence was part of the sting that was allegedly there to arrest him. So I think this is within the scope. I'm going to allow it.
Ooh.
Can you go ahead and repeat the question?
Yes, how many individuals have gotten life in prison?
To my knowledge, one.
Can you describe what that was for? Well, for what offenses is that person in prison?
Without closing information, it would be multiple heinous felonies.
Specifically.
Mr. Clarence, was criminal records public records?
Ooh.
If I want to see your record, can I go to the courthouse and get it?
Is this man an officer?
I believe so, yes.
So why would you not be able to disclose it?
Okay, well then the man behind bars for life He committed multiple armed robberies and multiple attempted murders on LEO.
How many? Can you please list them?
I don't know exactly how many. I wasn't one of the people.
Your
around
Honor,
that case.
would it be possible to obtain this information regarding this person and submit it into evidence?
Your Honor, the deadline has passed. Mr. Henderson had plenty of time to do this.
Well, I didn't have access to a computer, Your Honor.
Here's the thing.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Henderson on that. He's representing himself, so he doesn't have the availability to go to the courthouse and pull records. If you know the name of the individual, I can have his record pulled, and I can let it be known to the court.
What is the name of the individual that is facing in for life in prison?
The Maximilian Thornbread, I believe is his last name.
All right. I can already tell you, I'm already well aware of that case. That individual is in for life for terrorism. Let it be known to the court. There you go. Let's proceed.
Is stabbing somebody considered terrorism?
No.
Is stabbing 5 individuals considered terrorism?
Objection. Speculation.
That's not speculation, but I think we're getting out of scope. I think your answer you're asking Mr. Clarence questions that he just doesn't have any knowledge of. I mean, could stabbings be terrorism? Well, sure. I think the court needs to make everyone aware that terrorism needs an ideological or a political motive. And that's what determines the terrorism along with the crimes, not the actual crime itself. So let's go ahead and move along to the next question.
Of course, Your Honor. Have you been stabbed on duty before, officer?
Yes, I have.
Have you been stabbed over a dozen times?
Likely, yes.
Over
don't
2
keep
dozen
count.
times.
I don't know. Maybe.
Have you ever been in a case where somebody has been, where the person being sentenced stabbed somebody and spent life in prison?
No, I haven't.
Is cannibalism illegal in the state?
Objection asked and answered.
Wasn't asked to answer Mr. Clarence. It was asked to answer somebody else.
That's correct.
No, it is not.
Is tending to somebody's wounds illegal in this state?
Objection relevance.
Well, I don't. As far as relevance, I don't think this is in the scope of what Mr. Prey asked Mr. Henderson.
Am I able to call these witnesses back up at a later point?
Sure. What you want to do is, whenever it's your turn to call witnesses, you want to do a recall on those witnesses.
I see. And if those witnesses were to leave before, would I be able to dismiss their entire witness testimony?
Well, no, because whenever they're being examined right now by Mr. Prey, you need to make the courts aware that there's someone that you'd like to recall later.
Oh, of course. I'm probably going to recall everybody. But if they were to leave,
you didn't let,
would I be able to?
You didn't. The people before this, you didn't let the courts know that you would like to recall them. So it was too late for those.
Yes. So how would I know whether or not to recall
here,
them? So if I can recall everybody from here on forth, I can do that, yes?
Well, sure. And if anyone before, if you want to recall them, I don't have an issue with that.
Oh,
if they're
fantastic.
still,
And
if they're still
if-
here. But if they're not here and they're anyone from before, then there's nothing I can do about that, and I can't wipe the record or wipe their testimony because you didn't ask for them to be recalled.
Well, if I ask for the remaining witnesses to be recalled, and they decide
You need
to
to
leave,
ask it for each one individually.
each one individual, and of the ones that I ask, if they have not yet testified and they decide to leave before I'm able to call them in as my witness, would their previous
If they leave, they're going to be held in
testimony
contempt.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And do they still have a choice to leave and not be a witness any longer, knowing how long this court case is going to... Okay. Fantastic.
You have any further questions?
Have you ever tasted pig meat, officer?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. I don't even have to ask you the relevancy. No, that's not relevant, Mr. Henderson.
Right. I was trying to go with something, but give me a second here. Would you consider yourself a good police officer?
Objection, relevance.
How familiar are you with the law?
What? She objected, Mr. Henderson. I got a rule on that.
Oh, of course.
Would I find that relevant? Possibly, yeah. Is it speculation? For sure. Can you ask a different question?
How familiar are you with the law?
I'm very familiar with it.
Oh, hello. Kevin's like, I'm here to save.
Am I missing something here?
Braun's
Yeah.
here.
Is that a problem?
I'm good. Thank you.
I think he's got a frog in his throat.
Oh my.
You don't have any more questions, correct?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Bray, would you like to rebuttal any of that?
No, sir.
All right. Clarence, you can step down. Mr. Henderson, would you like to add him to the recall list?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Clarence, please stick around. You are subject to be recalled later in the court case. If you decide to leave, then you will be held in contempt. You understand me?
And not a problem, Your Honor.
All right. Pray, got any other witnesses?
Oh, it seems Mr. Braun is here now. I'd like to call Mr. Braun to the stand.
Oh, man, this is going to be good.
Very well. Mr. Braun, can you step forward?
If we brought in Shaw would probably do very well. But bringing him in would not be good for this roleplay scenario.
Mr. Braun, please leave your left arm.
My character also does not know Shaw.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury, sir.
I do, Your Honor.
My character has no idea
Witness
he's
has
a
been
lawyer.
sworn in, Your Honor.
Mr. Braun, how are you today?
I'm well rested. How are you today?
I'm well, sir. Can you state your name and occupation for the record?
My name is Murphy Braun, and I am an attorney.
What was your first contact with Mr. Henderson?
That would have been a phone call on the day in question.
What was said during the phone call?
I get a lot of phone calls. You'll have to forgive me with the details, but some sort of vague
Take a recess and get to know Shaw. Yeah.
business-related sounding reason to call me.
Did Mr. Henderson introduce himself as Mr. Henderson?
Yes. After some time, I don't think it was till towards the end of the call when I thought that I hadn't heard his name yet. So I believe I asked him towards the end of the call, and he said his full name.
All right. And did you ever meet with Mr. Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Asked and answered.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and allow it again, just for the record. Perfectly clear.
Yes. Sorry. The question is, did I meet with him on that day? Right?
That's
Not
correct.
That I speak
Not
with...
initial.
Yes.
That's right. Not initial contact, sir.
Yes. After some sort of legal or business reason was agreed upon for the personal meeting, I did agree to meet with Mr. Henderson. Yes.
And did you go in the same car?
Yes. He unfortunately picked me up in his vehicle.
What vehicle was that? Mr. Braun?
It was a red Pinto.
All right. And where did you go with Mr. Henderson?
We drove around and ultimately ended up at, I don't know if it's called the Del Piero docks or wherever most of the yachts and sailboats are kept. That area of docks in the city on the south side by, just eastbound of the Del Piero beach area.
All right. And how was the conversation with Mr. Henderson?
It was very flattering. I mean, honestly, it started out somewhat business or legal task related, but he quickly became very flattering in his remarks and tone. I suspected at the time, it's 2019. I suspected he was kind of romantically interested in me, and I didn't mind the compliments. So, again, it's 2019. I was ready to hear him out.
All right. And was it determined that his true motive was business or legal reasons for you to be out there?
No, not at all.
What did you discover, Mr. Braun?
I discovered that he had no business or legal motives at all, unless it was the business of eating people.
The business of eating people. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, as I said, he was making some complimentary language towards me, being very flattering in his remarks, saying that
Objection.
I was a nice
narrative.
That's not a narrative, Mr. Henderson.
Speculation.
Overruled.
Like some of the comments he was making was along the lines of, "I'm gonna eat you up. You're so you're so toned, or you got such a great body," or something. And obviously,
I love
initially,
Murphy over
you're
here
not
right
gonna
now.
go cannibal.
Yeah, what up, Raven?
You're gonna go gay, dude. So I thought he was just hitting on me, and I was kind of, in the mood to just go with that. But then out comes the knife, and he's like, "I'm really gonna eat you," and that's when I knew I was in trouble.
See, the great thing about
Did Mr.
narrative.
Henderson, in fact, eat you up, Mr. Braun?
Ooh.
After some trial and error, ultimately, yes.
What do you mean by trial and error?
Ooh.
Well, his initial attempts to lunge at me and incapacitate me were unmatched by my Tai Chi moves. So I was able to dodge and duck the first initial swings, and then I took off running. And
Conan's gonna be
as
great,
I was
yeah.
running from him, back, in a loop around this pier, back towards the car, which I forgot was not mine. So I ran from him around and across the pier, attempting to, bargain with him essentially, and wound up swimming back across the pier after swimming across the first time. Got to where he had parked the car, and in my panic realized, oh, I didn't come in my car, so that's not going to help. And there's a ladder, and I went on top of a roof, and basically in sort of a unarmed standoff, I was trying to negotiate on my own behalf against getting eaten.
What happened after the negotiations?
He ate a piece of my leg while I was still alive. Watching.
So you watched him eat your flesh in front of you.
Ooh.
How has this affected your life, Mr. Braun?
Well, I've been a
Gotcha,
little
Bass.
less likely to to cook a steak, I guess. I don't know. I've been eating a lot of salads, and my leg itches where they put,
All right.
pieces of my buttocks there.
Do you have problems sitting, Mr. Braun?
Well, yeah, I've always had a bony butt. Always had a bony butt, but sitting is especially hard right now. The area around the left buttock is especially tender. Yes, it's a big part of my job, and it is quite difficult. Yes.
So this attack has affected your daily life, Mr. Braun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when someone wants to eat you while you're still conscious and breathing, and kind of want to give you a review on how you taste, I mean, that'll affect. I'm sorry, but that'll affect the stone cold killers among us. You know what I mean? Like, that affects anybody.
Indeed. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anderson, you have any questions? I'm sure you do.
Of course I do. How you doing there?
What's up, you crazy asshole?
Woo! Objection. Hostile witness.
Why?
He looks like he's about to lunge at me. Try to take a bite of me.
Well, someone that's objected speculation a lot. It's a very speculatory comment.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead and continue with the question.
Yes, of
motion
course.
For hostile witness denied.
So, if someone were to allegedly take a bite of your thigh again, would they be eating your ass?
Objection, speculation. Quite disturbing.
I mean, I want to sustain that.
I cannot say anything now.
Henderson, you all right?
Of course I am. I'm just collecting my thoughts here. What?
Is he asking a question?
I'm not sure.
I thought I heard him start to ask one. That's why.
I thought so too.
Okay. You mentioned was there a sewing kit involved in the incident that you just described?
A sewing kit? Not that I recall.
Do you recall being stitched back up?
Yeah. I mean, I was stitched up at the hospital by Dr. Tor Andrews.
Do you have a relationship with Dr. Tor Andrews?
Oh no,
Objection.
she's a married woman.
What's the objection?
The objection was speculation. And relevance, actually, relevance.
Well, it would be relevant because she's on the witness list, and therefore I'm trying to establish whether or not Mr. Murphy here is trying to have sex with her. And if he is, then possibly then what he's got to say and what she's got to say may be contradicting or might be biased or something like that.
Oh, I thought I missed when Judge Russell actually sustained that objection. Did I miss
I'm gonna
that?
sustain it. I think that's out of the scope.
Are you interested in this doctor?
Objection, scope, and relevance.
Sustained once again. Mr. Henderson, remember we talked about that scope thing?
Oh,
If you'd
of
like to
course,
do a
right. I
recall?
need to bring him back on the recall? Oh, I totally understand. Okay, I'll be sure to ask those questions at a later point.
Would you like to add Mr. Braun to the recall list?
Yes, I would, sir.
All right, continue.
Did you call 911?
No.
Did anybody call 911?
I think some citizen in a balcony called 911.
Did you check your phone for 911 logs?
Objection, relevance.
I think I see where Mr. Henderson's going
Hmm.
with this. I'm gonna allow it.
Did I check my phone for 911 logs? Is that the question?
Yes, of course.
At what point in time? Can I get clarification on this?
Was there any 911 calls made on your cell phone at the time of the incident?
Objection
on your
asked
cell
and
phone.
answered.
Well, no, it wasn't. He said somebody else
Mr.
did
Braun
it.
never actually answered the question.
I don't recall having ever called 911. No.
That was not the question, Murphy. I will ask it one more time. Was there any 911 calls made on your cell phone at the time of the incident?
I wouldn't know for sure. I didn't check.
Can 911 calls be made on your phone without you being aware?
I'm sure it's possible.
Okay,
But
perfect.
again,
yes.
That's
okay.
speculation on my part.
Of course it is. Is it possible for an individual that is not medically trained to be able to stop another person from bleeding out using a sewing kit?
Objection. Speculation.
Sustained.
Oh, that's a good point. How would you weight yourself?
How would I rate myself or,
That's right.
weight myself?
That's right. How would you rate yourself?
Objection. Relevance and scope.
Well, I mean, Mr. Braun did say that Mr. Henderson tried to pick him up and got flirtatious with him, so I guess his rating would be in the scope. I'm gonna allow him to answer.
I'd say like 8.3.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yes. Speaking of ratings.
Mr. Prey, I asked you if you to come up and rebut.
No, sir.
Would you like to do a rebuttal?
Yes, sir.
Can you go back and then come back?
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
Mr. Prey, would you like to do any rebuttal to that?
Yes, sir.
Please
Can I
step
come
forward.
up, sir? Thank you, sir.
Oh God, man. No, she's great. Honestly, no one wants to be a DA. So the fact that she is a DA is crazy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of ratings, Mr. Braun, did you see a rating on Twitter of you after your attack?
Yes, I did. I responded to it, in fact.
Mr. Braun, who did a rating of you?
A fellow by the name of Garfield Henderson.
Interesting. Now I would like to point the attention of the court to exhibit the People's B, which is the tweet, if you guys can pull it up on your phones or whatnot, where Mr. Garfield Henderson actually did rate Mr. Braun, which actually, Mr. Braun, if you could pull that up, can you read that review, please?
Mr. Prey, how was any of this in the scope of what Mr. Henderson was talking about?
Mr. Henderson brought up ratings, did he not?
I suppose you're right. All right, I'll take that back. Let's do it. What exhibit's that?
That is the People's B.
Murphy Braun was such a mouthful. Would absolutely recommend. May return in the future. 4 out of 5 stars. My response was, I am not a meal. I think that would have been shortly after getting the skin graft from Dr. Andrews.
So
Ooh.
Mr. Henderson was reviewing how you tasted, Mr. Braun.
Under the circumstances, that is definitely that is where my mind went.
Yeah,
with
my
that
character was
tweet.
leaving Yelp
absolutely.
reviews.
And after a
on Twitter.
vicious attack. No further questions, Your Honor.
I would like to cross-examine or re-cross-examine or whatnot.
All right, please step forward, Mr. Henderson.
Murphy, would you say you are a mouthful?
Objection, speculation.
That is true. That is speculation. I'm going to sustain that. Can you reword that?
Can you imagine someone... I'm sorry, Your Honor, how would that be speculation if he's making an observation about himself?
I mean, you could speculate an observation about yourself.
Well, that's what I'm asking him to do.
That's what I'm saying. You could speculate an observation about yourself. That's why it's speculation.
Has anybody said you are a mouthful pertaining to your meat?
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking him to recall.
That's not speculation. I mean, either someone has or they haven't, though there's knowledge. I'm going to allow it.
Yes. I have been told on occasion that it would be physically impossible to, fit all of me in their mouth. So, in so many words, yes, I guess I have been told I'm a mouthful. Sure. Obviously, the sheer physics of, fitting all of someone into someone's mouth is I mean, I'm not sure that's speculative. It's just physics. It's impossible.
Ooh. On how many occasions have you been told you are a mouthful?
Specifically, that word, I couldn't say. I don't recall. At least once. At least once.
Has it ever been a woman that has said you are a mouthful?
Again, I'm not sure of exact words here. The implication is well understood, but I'm just gonna go with I don't recall. I don't recall.
So, is it possible that no woman has said you are a mouthful?
Objection, speculation.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, Your Honor. Has a woman Are we gonna do anything with that on the ground?
No, that was needed to be done.
Okay.
If everybody just
Where
wants to
are we gonna take that body exactly?
It's taken by
What
demons.
body?
Okay.
Mr. Henderson, you seeing things?
Yeah, I'm seeing something.
What was the question? So we can get back to the objection.
I'm sorry. Do you see what I'm seeing right over here?
No, I don't.
Are you interested in that body, Mr. Henderson?
Eat it.
Oh!
Eat it. Eat it.
Here I was thinking you liked them when they were still warm.
I'm sorry. Is this considered entrapment?
I don't know what body you're speaking of.
Oh, okay. Okay. Has a woman ever described you as being a mouthful?
In so many words, yes.
Has the number of women who described you as being a mouthful exceeded that of one?
Yes.
Has it exceeded 5?
I do not know. I do not know for certain.
No
could only
further
speculate.
questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Prey, would you like to rebuttal?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Murphy, you can step down. You are subject to recall. If you do leave, you will be held in contempt. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yo, this is really fun.
Prey, you have any other witnesses?
I'd like to call Park Ranger.
I'm
Conan
aiming
Clarkson
for
to
the most
stand.
ridiculous closing argument. It's going to be hard, though. There's 17 witnesses. That's going to be a bitch of a closing argument. Without writing something down because of all the names. Yo,
Park
yo,
Ranger
PP,
Clarkson,
thank you for
please say
the
as you
thank you for
left
the
on.
biddies, man. Casey, thank you for the biddies,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
Eat it. Yo, PP plays.
Do you
thank
solemnly
you for the
swear or
prime,
affirm
Jacob,
that
thank
you
for the
will
nine.
tell the
Joel,
truth, the whole
thank you for the
truth,
prime
and
sub.
nothing but the
Trinity,
truth?
thank you
So
for the
help
prime,
you,
dude.
Boo Boo Bear, under
Appreciate
pains
it,
and
guys.
penalties of perjury.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
The witness has been sworn in, Your Honor.
The best testimonies here.
Judge LeBar,
Yes.
can you swear me in under an unsully? I think he'd be able to
Oh. So
relate
this is
to
how we're
that a
gonna
lot
start.
more.
So this is how it's gonna start.
Okay, alright. Can I ask him one question first?
Yeah, feel free.
How do you feel about picnic baskets?
Oh,
What about 'em?
unsullied.
The fuck?
Fucking lol.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil, under pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
He's been sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Even though Boo Boo
Mr.
Bear
Craig?
is good.
Okay. How are you today, Park Ranger?
I'm doing great. I'm starting to get
Good to hear,
accustomed to
sir.
the change.
The change, huh?
Yes.
What
I'm
changed,
starting to get used
sir?
to it. I have no penis now.
You have no penis. May I ask what happened to your penis, Park Ranger?
That man right there.
Ooh.
That's what happened.
What exactly happened, Park Ranger? What did that man do to your penis?
He bit it off.
How did that come to be, Park Ranger?
Well, as I am, Park Ranger Conan Clarkson from the San Andreas State Park Center operating under the Blaine County Sheriff's Office was patrolling the streets of Los Santos when I got a 911 call from that man right there needing food at the Boulderbrook Penitentiary Hospital. As a park ranger, I went there, I helped him out. Said, hey, I'm looking for food. And I met him in the kitchen.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
We then had some dialogue. He then, oh God.
Yeah, take your time, sir. Take your time. I know it's hard, sir.
Then he bit my thigh. And then I went and limped out that kitchen, pleading for my life. He then tackled me to the ground and then just gnawed away. He just kept going and going. He didn't stop.
Until when?
That man right there.
Ooh.
When did he stop, Park Ranger?
Till the dick
I
was
know it's hard.
completely gone.
So now you have no genitalia, Park
No.
Ranger.
No, I don't.
How has this vicious and brutal attack affected your life, sir?
Tremendously. Your Honor, Judge LeBar, I want the people of the courts to open up their phones and go to Weasel News. There I am, front page, front and center. Park Ranger eats his own.
No, you can't make that sort of request. You're a witness.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But let it be known that this is the second time the court has heard on the record, Mr. Clarkson, that you have ate your own penis.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay.
Terrible.
Well,
how we're gonna play? Play hardball, all right?
But yes, I continue as how this affected your life, Park Ranger.
I have no genitalia. I'm the last of my kind. The last park ranger. I can no longer reproduce more park rangers. I'm
And
the
what a
last of
shame
my
that
kin.
is.
Park Ranger Conan Clarkson, first of his name, last of his kind. Because of that man right there.
Duly noted, sir. And what a shame it is for the state of San Andreas and the city of Los Santos. No further questions.
Dun, dun.
Oh, hello, Mr. Cockless.
Oh, you.
Mr. Henderson, I didn't ask you if you want to do a rebuttal.
Oh, I'm
Can you go
sorry,
back?
Your Honor. I'll be going back to my stand.
Henderson, would you like to rebuttal?
Absolutely. May I approach the bench?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. In the video you describe, was I present?
No.
Objection. Scope. Relevance.
I'm going to sustain that. Mr. Henderson, would you like to add Park Ranger to the recall list?
Oh, of course. Can I not bring it up because he brought it up in his testimony?
He brought up you talking about the website?
Yes, Your Honor.
He requested that everyone in the courtroom look at that, and I denied it because he's a witness and he can't make requests.
I see. Did
wanna
you
take
take
that
a
radio outside, sir?
I didn't look at the website, no, because I denied it.
Okay, fantastic. I understand.
I said, do you want to take that radio outside, sir?
Oh shit, my bad, player.
Yeah. It is your bad. So take the radio outside and you come back in.
Ah, dog.
Yeah.
Damn.
Toodaloo.
Who keeps saying yeah?
It was
The
the man who
gentleman I
just
just
left.
asked to leave the
No,
courtroom.
together just left.
All right, continue with the question.
Mr. Clarkson, was your penis swallowed in the penitentiary?
No.
What happened to your penis?
After you were taken down at the Bolingbrook Penitentiary, I went took a plastic bag and put my penis inside the plastic bag. Then I contacted Boston Dynamics.
Can you describe what Boston Dynamics and your penis have a relation? What is the relationship between the two?
I was promised by Uchiha Jones that I'd be given myself the Fuckmaster 5000 by Boston Dynamics, and I'd be a fuck god.
Have you previously been a fuck god?
Well, you know.
Mr.
not
Clarkson,
by-
I would like to remind you that you are under oath and subject to perjury.
Your Honor, how would you know if I was a fuck god or not?
You're the one answering the question, not me. I'm just simply reminding you.
Sir. Yes,
You back there in the back, keep your mouth shut.
Oh, my bad, dog.
This
Yeah,
isn't
I'm a-
your
I'm a
court
fuck
case.
god.
This has nothing
Oh,
to
yeah.
do with you, and you're not the center of attention anywhere here. I repeat the question.
Prior to this incident, were you considered a fuck god?
Objection. Speculation.
Prior to this incident,
wanna
would you
sustain
call
that.
yourself a fuck god?
Maybe
Clarkson, you're
savage.
under oath.
No.
After this incident, would you call your? Do you believe? After this incident, do you expect to call yourself a fuck god?
How can I call myself a fuck god if I have no penis? I have nothing to fuck.
After you get this Fuckmaster 2000 that you stated, Uchiha believes will make you a fuck god, do you believe you could consider yourself a fuck god?
Objection.
Unfortunately-
Relevance.
I'm gonna allow it.
Unfortunately, Boston Dynamics is out of stock on the Fuckmaster 5000s. So I'm therefore an unsullied.
Will the Fuckmaster 2000 come back into stock, and do you plan on purchasing it?
Unfortunately, the only fuck god and the only Fuckmaster 5000 that is in this city is Uchiha Jones. It was one of one. I got debated.
How was your penis severed from your body?
Objection
know.
asked and answered.
I'm asking for specifics, Your Honor.
Well,
It was answered
I'm gonna allow
previously
this question.
in a way that
I
okay.
know how it was answered. I know how it was answered. I'm gonna allow this. I don't want you to be more descriptive, Mr. Clarkson.
Oh. I mean, you should know. You were there. You know, you just bit it right off. Just kept going in.
How big or how small in size was your penis?
Well, sir, I'm a park ranger. Big things come in big packages. Why do you think I drive the truck?
Yeah, under oath.
2.7.
2.7 what?
Damn.
Yeah.
2.7 what?
Inches. That's
Yeah,
right.
you're under
Inches. Centimeters.
1 second, Your Honor.
What's the relevancy here?
I'm gonna be establishing that.
Oh, this is pretty relevant. All right. Just wanna.
I'm trying to. It's the size of a grapefruit, or a grape. Do you believe that a penis, the size, is it possible for somebody to eat a bowl of fruit?
Objection. Speculation.
Oh, what the fuck are you even asking me?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question properly.
Of course.
Trying to find a way to ask this. When you were bit, how many times were you bit, Mr. Clarkson?
Well, I mean, when you you should know you were there. When you were going at it, you were there about 6 bites.
Was any of what was bitten spit out?
Yes, it was.
What was spit out?
The penis itself.
Was anything else spit out?
No.
Damn.
Has anybody used their mouth in that region with you in the past?
Objection.
What's the objection?
The relevance of anyone else going to his mouth region. We're talking about
not his
specific...
mouth region, his penis region.
Oh, of course you're gonna allow it. Of course you're gonna allow it. Well, sir, I'm a park ranger. I have clout, and there are a lot of bitches. Excuse my language. That want the park ranger, sir. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tons of them. Tons. A
Mr. Clarkson, you're under oath.
No, nobody's ever been in that region before.
I'm sorry. Can you say that louder? I couldn't hear.
Nobody's ever been in that region before. You were the first one.
Well, that was unexpected.
Really? Was it really unexpected?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I kind of figured maybe. Have you had trouble finding your own penis during masturbation?
Objection. Relevance, Your
yes,
Honor.
Your Honor.
I'm gonna allow it.
This is
Let me
thank
guess.
What are you guessing, Mr. Clarkson?
That you're gonna allow it.
I'm gonna allow it.
Of course you are. So, big things come in big packages. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see.
One more outburst from you, sir, and I will remove you from this courtroom. Do you understand?
Kind of hard not to see, big things. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, humans, thank you, dude.
Just kidding. No, yes, I have trouble seeing it. It's too small.
I appreciate that, dude. Is the 2.7 centimeters that you quoted, is that hard or soft?
Objection. Relevance.
It is absolutely relevant, Your Honor.
Your
pertaining to my...
Honor, come on. This is a kangaroo court. Come on,
no, of
Your
course.
Honor. Relevance.
If the suspect was seen biting, it's possible that it was accidentally bitten, given the size. And I'm trying to evaluate the size. The size is going to be very relevant because we're talking about a grapefruit versus potentially something much smaller.
I'm gonna allow it.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna play hardball. Okay, no problem. What was the question again?
Yes, is the 2.7 centimeters that you quoted erect or soft? You're under oath, Mr. Clarkson.
Hard.
Were you erect when you were by the subject?
Yes.
You're under oath.
Okay, it was cold out, right? It was pretty cold, but you know, park ranger. No, I can't. I pack heat. You know what I mean? So what? So what?
What was the size of your penis at the time of the incident?
1.3.
Yeah, thank you,
I can't take IT.
Did the suspect actually bite your penis?
Yes.
Your Honor.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Did you assist him biting your penis?
No. Why would I assist somebody biting
You're
my own?
under oath.
What? No. No. No.
Do you aware this?
Okay, maybe you know. Oh,
go ahead.
No, that's okay. Sorry, you moved on to the next question.
I'm sorry, you were saying maybe. Please continue.
No, just going under my breath. Maybe just maybe I've pushed his head towards my body just a little bit, but nothing more than that.
Do you feel shame toward your penis?
No,
Objection,
sir. No, sir.
Speculation.
Yep, speculation. It's okay. He's gonna
I'm
allow
gonna
it probably.
sustain that.
Oh.
Do you?
Mr. Henderson, we didn't move this case along.
Yes, I'm trying to establish
whether.
whether or not he intentionally helped the suspect have his extremely small penis bit off.
I get that, but a lot of these people you got to recall have to go.
Yes, of course. I think
Gotta
this
move
is
this
very relevant. Otherwise, I would not have spent this much time. I think the rest of the witnesses we could probably rush through.
Okay.
Do you have? Is there anything in regards to your penis? Do you have? Have you ever wished not to have a penis?
Objection. Speculation.
I mean, that's not spec. I'm gonna allow that.
Oh, okay. Not really. I mean, sometimes it's just like, damn, wonder what I'd be like if I didn't have a penis. Cockless Clarkson.
Were you wondering
Conan
what
Cook.
it would be like to not have a penis at the time of the incident?
No, sir. It was unexpected. It was very unexpected.
Did you want an upgrade at the time of the incident?
I was thinking about it. Boston Dynamics really.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Ray, would you like a rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Clarkson, you can step down.
I just want to point out he kind of
Subject to
admitted that
recall.
I just wanted to point out he kind of admitted to want to throw that out there.
Clarkson, he's admitted to a lot of things. Trust me. Perry, you have any other witnesses?
I do. We're heading towards the end of this, Your Honor. I'd like to call Michael Rogers to the stand.
Rogers, please step forward.
Yes, Your Honor.
Take this spot right here.
I'm going to try to rush the other witnesses that don't necessarily have relevance because I love the length, but some of it is pretty
All right, please raise your left
repetitive,
arm. Thank you.
you know?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, sir, I do.
Sworn in, Your Honor.
All
right,
right.
let's get to the question.
Yes. All right. How are you, Deputy?
Doing well, thank you.
I agree. Yeah.
You're welcome, sir. Were you involved in the sting operation with Mr. Garfield Henderson?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
What happened when the chase ensued?
When the chase ensued, I was piloting Air 1 while Deputy Delaney was manning the camera.
All right. Did you see what happened after Mr. Henderson crashed his vehicle?
From the air, I could see figures. Yes, I saw the driver of the red Pinto exit the vehicle and come at Officer Metzger. I was not able to see what happened.
Objection.
However,
narrative.
I'm gonna allow this just to get through the witness. He could literally explain all this in different questions, and we just got to get to the point.
Agreed.
as I was saying, I witnessed Officer Metzger go down, and Deputy Williams fire several shots to incapacitate the suspect. At that moment,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
At that moment, we landed the helicopter and provided medical aid to both injured parties.
Was neutralizing Mr. Henderson necessary?
Yes.
Did you? Why is that?
Mr. Henderson had, I was, as Deputy Williams stated, he stabbed Officer Metzger, and if a lethal threat is found against an officer, then it is another officer's duty to dispatch that threat if they are coming at another officer as a preservation of life.
All right. After apprehension, did you find anything on Mr. Henderson's person?
Yes, ma'am.
What was found?
While we were at Pillbox Medical, I was handed by doctor,
I think some of these could have been done in written testimony.
The suspect. He was in possession of a small sewing kit, along with a napkin with several slices of meat, which was determined to be human flesh by Dr. Tor Andrews.
Indeed. And in your time in the city, have you been
no,
involved in
learning lessons,
any
you know what I mean?
cases, or seen any cases involving cannibalism or human flesh of this nature?
No, ma'am.
By
I believe
other
it was asked and
witnesses.
answered to this witness, maybe others.
Did you want to restate the question, the answer, Your Honor?
Say the question again with the answer.
Oh, I said in your time in Los Santos, have you ever seen or been involved in cases involving cannibalism or human flesh in this manner?
No, ma'am. From my time as a medic to a time as an officer, I have never come into contact with any cannibalism and disgusting incidents such as this.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Henderson, would you like to rebuttal?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Rogers, you can step down.
Thank you.
Nora, DA West had
Yes.
to step out for medical reasons.
Yes,
She had to go.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I got notification.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip through
Oh, yeah,
anything
we got
that's
witnesses?
repetitive. We already have a
It seems
witness
Sunny D
testimony
is
on some of
ready
the
to speak, Your Honor,
things
so I would
we
like
needed.
to call Sunny
so.
D.
Sunny D, step forward.
Oh, damn.
Ooh.
That one is right.
All right, Mr. D, please raise your left hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury.
Absolutely. Yes, sir, I do.
The witness is sworn in, Your Honor.
All right. Continue, Mr. Prey.
How are you today, Mr. D? Mr. D, did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm okay, Mr. Pre. How are you?
I'm all right, sir. Can you state your name and occupation for the court?
Yeah, I'm Sonny D, and I'm just a local taxi driver here in.
What were you doing on June 2nd, 2019?
Well, I had a nice long, good money. I was bank across from Pink Cage to deposit my earnings for the day. Approached by
Oh, sorry. You were approached by whom, sir? I
Peter.
couldn't hear you. Peter.
Yeah,
Peter.
that's Peter right over there. Yep.
He called himself Peter to you, sir.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. That, sir, is Mr. Henderson. Did you find out later that his name was Mr. Henderson?
I never
Objection,
found.
speculation,
That wouldn't be speculative.
leading.
I am going to sustain that to be leading.
All right. So,
What the Did you get that man out of my whole entire
Yeah,
court
I'm gonna go take care of that right now.
all right. So,
Damn.
Peter,
Damn.
you met Peter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
At Fleega Bank, correct?
Damn.
Okay.
Damn.
So,
Damn.
Peter, and you've already identified him.
Wow, Coop's
when
here.
Peter approached you, what happened? Mr. D?
Can you hear me, Mr. Bree?
Yes, I can. And it's Dupre.
Peter pulled up in his vehicle and mentioned that he was new to town and was looking for a place to get meat in his mouth. So I thought looking, for a good time, so I jumped in the vehicle. Burger shot.
Okay, so you and Mr. Henderson went to Burger Shot. What happened what did you see when you got there?
Place was actually pretty empty. Employees were working.
I'm gonna put this
Make some
court in
burgers for
recess. Can
ourselves.
we hold that man in contempt?
Did you want me to go stop him, Your Honor? He's already left the building.
Yeah, good. No, he's gonna come back. So go get him and put him in contempt. 30 months in prison.
Rip.
All right. Can I continue, Your Honor? Or we're still waiting?
Absolutely. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. As you were saying, sir, what did you see when you got to Burger Shot?
Got to Burger Shot. There were working, no customers. Burgers for
did
ourselves.
You oh, you mean burgers for yourselves? Where did you do that?
In the back. The back door was open. All the ingredients were laying out there on the counter. Burgers for each other.
Whose idea was to go back there?
That was Peter's.
So it was Mr. Henderson's idea to go back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, Mr. Henderson.
What happened? What happened when you went back there?
Objection.
Back there, all the ingredients.
Speculation. Speculation.
That wouldn't be speculation. I'm gonna overrule that.
Yana, how is he establishing it with Mr. Henderson?
What do you mean, Mr. Henderson?
Never mind.
Continue.
Sorry, Nora, what was the question?
What happened when you got
I went to
back
get
there
chips.
with Mr. Henderson, who was calling himself Peter?
Burger Shot left all the... Everything was laying there. He got back there to start burger.
Can you clear your throat, sir? I can hear maybe every other word you're saying.
Is that any better, Mr. Bree?
Dupre, and yes.
It was 30 months, correct, Your Honor? Sorry to interrupt.
That's correct. 30 months.
Understood.
Go ahead, Go ahead, Mr. D. What happened when you got back there?
Yo, thank you,
Yeah,
Caitlin,
back
for the
there I
biddies.
was,
I
making-
appreciate that.
Sharp pain to the back of my ball.
I think it's
Mr.
like
Gray, I don't know if I
Einstein.
can hold this witness reliable as a witness. I can't understand what he's saying, that we're having issues. We might have to just not be able to have him as a witness.
Oh,
Agreed.
That's,
Thank God.
That's fine.
I appreciate that, Judge.
I mean,
I'm
it's on
sorry,
the
but you have
record.
to step down. Get that resolved. Maybe you can come back. It's hard to understand.
No further questions, Yana.
Glad the person on the stand doesn't have any questions for you. Mr. Prey, you have another witness?
I'd like to call Dr. Kizzy Nevaeh to the stand, please.
What?
Hey, I would just like to state for the record that I made it today. Don't fire me.
Yeah.
Yana, I would like to
Hold
throw
on, I
out
gotta
any
swear in the witness.
evidence regarding
Thank you.
the medical evaluation.
Which evaluation? What part of the evidence is it filed under?
Well, I'm not sure like when I should do this, but this is the same lady that did the medical evaluation. But as you'll notice in the testimony, there's going to be a conflict of interest.
All right. Let me take Mr. Prey. Where in the evidence is testimony?
The evaluation that Dr. Kizzy Nevaeh did is under People's F.
I feel you, Momo. Oh, they forgot to fine him. It's not fail, RP.
Okay, go ahead and continue, and I'll take that in consideration. Mr.
What he's
Henderson.
doing is not fail, RP.
All
You'll
right,
get
man,
in
will you
trouble
please
for
raise
it.
your left
It
hand?
might be kind of a. You might gonna have opinions. It's not fail, RP.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm
Yo,
you will tell the
Merc.
truth, the whole truth,
Thank you, man, for that
and nothing
convert.
but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
The witness is sworn in, Your Honor.
Continue.
All right. How are you, Dr. Nevaeh?
A little nervous, but overall I'm healthy.
It's bad taste, maybe.
All right.
I thought it was
That's
funny.
good. State your name and occupation for the record, please.
My name is Kizzy Nevaeh, and I am a psychologist.
Did you receive a call from police regarding Mr. Henderson on June 2nd, 2019?
Yo, Merc, thank you for the 10, man.
Yes, but the first time the police reached out to me was in person.
All right. And what did the police say on the phone?
They were telling me that that I needed to be aware of a man who they believed was going through the yellow pages and attacking people, and so they were asking me to be aware and not approach him if at all possible, and to let them know if he does call me.
Did you speak to Mr. Henderson on the phone?
Yes, I did.
Did he refer to himself as Mr. Henderson?
I believe he called himself Gary on the phone.
Can you briefly describe what happened in this sting operation for you?
Yes, I made the police aware that he had reached out to me, and I was put in contact with Detective Raven, who dressed up in my clothing, and then we took my car and started to drive to Del Perro Pier. However, on the drive there, I made contact with Mr. Henderson to let him know that we were taking a while because of red lights and traffic, and he decided to change the location to Bahama Mamas, which was closer.
Let me stop you right here. So let me get this straight. So you were involved in an investigation that led to Mr. Henderson.
Yes.
The one that did the evaluation for him to be fit.
Yes, a police officer reached out to me and told me he was requesting the psychologist to come down and evaluate him.
I'm going to hereby strike the evidence off the record and that motion.
Ooh, thank you, Your Honor.
Please continue, Mr. Prey.
Yeah, I'll continue. Did you see Mr. Henderson tweet about his tweet ratings out?
Yes, I did.
All right. What conclusion did you come to after your evaluation on Mr. Henderson?
I was concerned that he would be a danger to the public, and so my conclusion was that I informed him that he should reach out to me in the future in order to schedule more sessions or reach out to another psychologist, but that he should probably stay in the prison for potential rehabilitation.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Oh.
Mr. Henderson, would you like to rebut those questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you please spell for me M. Night Shyamalan?
No.
Oh, jeez.
That was
Sorry,
a
Your
request, Your Honor.
I do not know how to spell it.
Objection relevance, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm trying to evaluate whether or not she was able to. I'm trying to understand whether or not she's able to actually relate my Twitter post with the post that she allegedly saw.
Not seeing how M. Night Shyamalan's name has to do with that, but okay.
Well, I'm trying to understand whether she can, whether she can spell well.
I'm going, Mr. Henderson.
I'm sorry, you cut out, Your Honor. What was that?
I'm not going to allow that.
Okay.
I'm not going to allow that
Can
at
you
all.
spell my name?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Garfield space Henderson.
Did you miss? Do you realize you missed an ah?
No, I didn't realize.
I see. And my next question is gonna be: is Garfield a common name?
Objection.
Do you know any
speculation.
other Garfields?
Not personally.
I'm gonna, if you will allow me, I'm gonna ask the question slightly differently to make this answer a little bit better. Do you know of any Garfield? Well, actually, you answered it. Do you know anyone personally or otherwise with the last name Henderson?
Objection. Relevance.
What's the relevance, Mr. Henderson?
Well, the follow-up question is going to be, how did you know that was a tweet made by Garfield Henderson, and whether I was that Garfield Henderson?
Kizzy, have you ever met Garfield Henderson before this incident?
No.
Did you know his name was Garfield Incident before the tweet?
Oh, thank you.
No.
I see the point you're making, Mr. Garfield. It's noted. Can we move along?
Yes, of course. When you decided to assist, what led you to assist the police in the incident?
They personally asked me to, I guess. They asked me to contact them if you were to call me, or if I were contacted. And then the actual assistance was kind of thrown on me by the police.
Do you believe you were coerced into doing that? Helping them out?
No.
Did you willfully help them out?
Yes, I suppose so.
Did you feel at any point your life was in danger?
Yes, I was concerned that someone that they believed was a threat was reaching out to me. So yes, in that sort of aspect.
Do you believe the police put you in danger?
No, I trusted the police to take care of me.
I'm sorry. Isn't that two different statements?
No.
No more further questions, Your Honor.
Story, would you like to rebuttal?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Kizzy, you can step down. Story, you got any other witnesses?
Yes, I would like to call Dr. Tor Andrews to the stand.
Pardon me.
I can't wait for a Tora and Murphy line of questioning. That's the only one I'm super interested in recalling, to be honest. 17
Dr. Andrews,
witnesses,
would you please
chat.
Raise your left arm. Do you solemnly swear
I don't know why
that you will
they
tell the
say.
truth, the
I
whole
mean,
truth,
to be
and nothing
fair,
but the truth, so help you
a
court
lot
under
of people
pains and
were
penalties
involved
of
in that
perjury, ma'am.
storyline. It was great.
I do.
Witness is sworn in, Your Honor.
Yo, T-Cat's coming in with a prime. What up, man?
How
Appreciate
are you,
that,
Dr.
dude.
Andrews?
I'm fine,
Damn,
thank you.
17 away, boys.
Can you
For
state your name and occupation
2,500.
for the record?
Tor Andrews, doctor of Pillbox Medical, specializing in urology.
I think
Did you
everyone's going to
treat
be
Murphy
pissed when
Braun
I
on
admit
June
to
2nd,
everything. I kind of
2019?
feel bad, almost.
I did.
I
I
almost
was
feel like
not
I
his
shouldn't
initial
admit.
point of contact as I was just starting my shift, but I did get involved in the aspect he needed to have a skin transplant for a gaping wound on his left thigh.
Can you talk to the nature of his injuries?
Yes, Mr. Braun had a large chunk of skin down to the fatty
Yeah, I
tissue
won't.
on the left thigh. It was a very
It's not. I
substantially
was
deep, hence
planning
why
to do
we
it
had
originally,
to
but
do
now I
skin
feel like it would
transfer.
be in bad taste.
He was in a good, stable condition. The wound was taken care of. As I said, I removed a small piece of flesh from his left buttocks, stretched the skin out, and had that transferred into the wound.
Did you treat Pinto, Patel, and or Sunny D?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, both of those.
Were their injuries similar to Mr. Braun's?
Yes. Yes, they both had a large laceration of skin and fatty tissue removed from the left thigh.
Were any of the injuries crudely sewn up?
Cannibalism is legal.
It was very hard to tell. The wound was very much a mess by the time they got to the ER. There was, not precision instruments used to remove the flesh, so it was very gritty. It looked like there could have been threading, but I'm not too sure.
Cold-blooded. Yo, thank
Did
you,
you treat
dude.
Garfield Henderson on
Yo,
June
let me
2nd,
get all
2019?
kinds of hearts in chat for him. I appreciate that,
yes,
man.
I did.
Much love, dude.
And what did you treat, and if there was anything of note?
Mr. Garfield came in, or it's Mr. Henderson came in unconscious at the
17
time
witnesses!
with multiple GSWs to the upper
Have
torso.
entered.
I examined the injuries. There
The
was no major
coincidence.
damage to any organs or arteries
Yo, Faze, thank you
or
for the 3,
bones. The
luck
wounds
in
on
the
his
trial.
arms were pretty much through and through grazes, but they were treated. He was given IVs, fluids, the usual, and they were cleaned. I did notice while working on the patient of articles stuck in his mouth, which I asked the EMT, Mr. Hayes, to take a look at for me.
And
The
what were
sub
these
counter is
articles?
just bugged. Red.
They were
2,501.
fatty tissue and flesh.
Should fit.
How was it determined that this was fatty tissue and flesh?
Considering by the look of them, but we sent them away for testing, which they came back to be human flesh.
11. Thank you for the
fatty
5,
tissue.
man. Appreciate that,
Was
dude.
Mr. Henderson tested for anything?
Yes, we definitely took his blood, considering, just to check to make sure that there was any other issues, any infections, and that was, like I said, sent to the lab.
Was anything determined by this blood test?
Yes, it came back that he had a strain of Prions disease, but due to the fact that there's multiple strains, we can't confirm which strain.
Ooh.
Prions disease. Can you briefly describe what Prions disease is?
Yes, it's a progressive neurodegenerative condition which exists both in animals and humans. It occurs when a normal prion protein found on many surfaces of cells becomes abnormal and clumps in the brain, causing brain damage.
And with the blood analysis, could you tell how severe Mr. Henderson's case was for the prions?
Yes. When he originally came into the ER, his irrationality, his manner, I would have stated he was probably in the late stages of Prions disease, but I'm not too sure. After today, his brain seems to be functioning, substantially well.
With
Objection.
what you see and the
Speculation.
fact that he has Prions disease, is it dangerous to have someone like Mr. Henderson among the public?
I'm sorry. Objection. Speculation to the last statement.
That wouldn't be speculation, but Tora, are you a psychiatrist?
No, I'm not.
Are you trained in any field of psychiatry in any way?
No.
Oh.
Are you trained in any type of mental health?
No.
I don't think it'd be appropriate, Mr. Pratt, for her to answer that question.
Exactly. You read my
No
mind.
further questions. No further questions, Your Honor.
Henderson, would you like to rebuttal?
I only have one question, Your Honor. Hello, sweetheart. Have we ever met before?
In the ER on the day that you came in for treatment.
How long did that conversation last? Your best estimate.
You had multiple GSW wounds. You were unconscious when you first came in, so for most of the surgery you were not coherent at all. It was just towards the end. I asked you if you had any ID on you. You weren't responsive to that. You were basically grunting and carrying on a little delusional.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Bray, would you like to rebuttal?
No, Your Honor. No.
All right, you can step down. I appreciate your time and your testimony. Mr. Bray, you have any other witnesses?
I'd like to call Garfield Henderson to the stand.
Ooh. Now, Your Honor, must I
Mr.
go?
Henderson, do you wish this is up to you. If you don't want to take the stand, you don't have to. But if you don't waive your Fifth Amendment right and you wish not to take the stand, then you can't give your side of the story.
That's right, but I'm still able to make my closing statement, yes?
Of course.
And in that closing statement, I can still provide a bit of a narrative given the circumstances.
You could. In your closing statement, you can only talk about things that were brought up in the court case and that were mentioned in the court case by witnesses and evidence.
Okay.
So any new information
Of
cannot
course.
be brought up.
Of course. I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
All right. For my final witness, I'd like to call Dr. Serge Cross to the stand.
Mr. Cross, can you step forward?
I'm gonna leap.
Oh, also, I would like to call Miss Tora back on the stand after this.
You'd like to do a recall? All right.
A recall, yes.
Okay, Dr. Cross, please raise your left arm.
Final witness, Pog.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you coil under pains and penalties of perjury?
Nobody here is a real lawyer or judge.
Praise
Witness is
Mitch.
sworn in, Your Honor.
A lot of them are
Praise
just
Mitch.
very good.
How are you today, Dr. Cross?
Fine.
Can you state your name and occupation for the record?
I am Dr. Serge Cross. I am the Chief of Medicine for Pillbox Medical Center.
How long have you been a doctor?
About 14 years, ma'am.
Are you familiar with Prine's disease?
Yes.
Have you ever been involved in the surgery that is related to the disease?
3 times.
Can you describe it? Can you describe the disease and how it affects people for the court, please?
Well, Miss kind of gave a more scientific definition, but I will simplify it as basically a disease turn you from a everyday person speaking, acting, moving.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Is it just me or is he breaking up?
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Basically, a prion is an infectious protein. When it infects the brain, it becomes something called prion disease. Now, there's different diseases by different names that are all prion diseases. The most famous being between Coot and Creuss-Jacobs disease, which is mad cow disease. But sorry, tangent. Basically, this disease will get you from being like someone like Miss Dupree over here, well-mannered, well-thought, is able to object when she's supposed to object. Someone basically in a wheelchair, unable to move, unable to breathe on their own, unable to think on their own, unable to do anything. Just a drooling Hulk husk of a fucking person.
You said it's an infectious protein with someone who, well, can this disease be transferred via blood? Meaning if someone ate someone else. or bit
Objection,
into someone
relevance.
else.
I'm gonna allow. I want to hear this. I'm learning about crayon disease, and it's interesting me.
It can be passed on if, say, someone were to either feed someone who is infected with the disease to someone else, be it most likely if they eat the brain matter. That's what happened. in
Yo,
Papua New Guinea.
Gomez, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, man. I appreciate that, dude.
It has been established. It has been established that Mr. Henderson. It has been established that Mr. Henderson has this disease. Can you describe the effect of keeping an individual like this in the general public?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
He is an expert and has been a doctor for 14
Please
years.
rephrase your question.
Dr. Cross, are you an expert in mental health?
Not only am I a general surgeon, I'm also a psychiatrist, sir.
All right. Very well. If he's an expert witness, then it isn't speculation because he has the experience. Go ahead and ask the question, Mr. Prick.
It has been established that Mr. Henderson has the disease. Can you describe the effect it would to keep an individual like this among the general population?
It would basically be the same result as if someone that you know ahead of time is going to suffer from severe dementia. Basically, they'll, instead of someone becoming slowly demented over a long period of time, all this will happen over a year's time. Between however long he was infected to most likely a year, he's going to develop dementia very rapidly. He's going to hallucinate. His muscles are just going to stop working on him. He'll be confused. I'm surprised he'll be able to even speak by the end of it. Like I said, you'll go from a normal person to just
a husk of a person.
Ooh.
And if this person's in the, you asked in the regular population, what?
Yes, given his actions.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
I'm kind of curious about what generally happens with people that have that disease and how they're treated. by
More like
doctors.
leading. I'm wondering how she's coming to these conclusions.
Reword the question, Mr. Gray.
Dr. Cross, you said he would be basically a husk, and his symptoms would basically, be.
Yo, Justin, thank you for the 2 months, man. I appreciate that, dude.
With that, would his behavior worsen with time?
Yes, there's no cure. There's no specific therapy to treating prion disease. It's just supportive. It's basically palliative. No coming out of this healthy.
Dr. Cross, out of my own curiosity, people that are diagnosed with this crayon disease or whatever it's called.
Crayon disease. Medi art chat.
How's their lifespan usually work? Are they sent home? Are they kept at the hospital?
Chad has
Are
crayon
they
disease.
Sedated.
Like I said, it's palliative. They would take them to. It's all palliative care.
Yo, Scum
they
coming
would
in with the
have
23
at-home
months.
nurse.
What up, man?
For a lack of a better word, is
Smoking them
basically
crayons.
You're going to die.
You know when you
so
get
they're going
pissed
to
off
make
and you take
as
out the
comfortable
box
as
of
you
crayons
possibly
and try
can.
to smoke it? Oh, that's ligma? Oh, okay.
It can either be at the hospital or at your own home.
I
Up
RP'd
to
the
you when
prion
you're-
disease.
How long does it usually take for someone to show symptoms of this?
Symptoms? Between 1 to 6 months, and by the time symptoms are there, you have about a year.
Do symptoms usually digress?
Immensely. Specifically when it comes to memory, confusion, muscle movement, being able to speak.
So what I'm asking is can you be really bad one day but then okay the next day? Or is it just once it gets bad, it just keeps getting bad?
It does not get any better. Can I just kind of paint you a picture of the brain?
Sure.
So you've seen a brain before, correct?
Yeah. I see mine all the time when I think.
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Just a mental image
I've been in
of
prison
just a brain.
more than 2 weeks.
Now imagine that brain slowly but surely turn into a sponge.
Ooh.
So my question is this: if Mr. Garfield showed like serious signs of this crayon disease or whatever it was called, and he's fine now, is it possible he was misdiagnosed?
There's always the possibility. The only surefire way to know 100% that he has Prion's disease is to, after he dies, for us to do a brain biopsy.
Oh,
So that's why I asked: is it common for people that show really bad symptoms where they're really harsh to go back and start getting better?
No, not usually.
So it wouldn't make sense that that's happening right now.
Correct, sir.
Mr. Prey, continue. That was just my own curiosity on trying to understand this disease.
On your medical expertise and on the blood test that Dr. Andrews has performed, can you say that Mr. Henderson has Prion's disease?
From what the lab sent back, the lab techs do say that he does indeed have Prion's disease. Like I said, they couldn't...
I'm confused again. You told me the only real way to tell would be after someone died to test it.
No, the 100% way to tell and know which strain it is after they die and we do a brain biopsy.
Oh, not. Oh,
So the lab could be wrong.
Yes, with any test whatsoever, it can be wrong.
Continue, Mr. Prey. I'm sorry for interrupting. I don't understand diseases, so I don't know
That's
nothing
all
about
right.
crayon.
It's all right, Judge Coyote.
Ooh.
And with this, the test, what's the percentage of reliability on the test?
That I don't know. When it comes to blood tests, I don't know.
All right.
That's outside of my scope.
Indeed, sir. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
And no
Mr.
questions
Henderson,
for
would you
me,
like
Your
to-
Honor.
Okay. You can step down, Mr. Cross. I appreciate it. As you said, that was your last witness, Mr. Prey.
That is correct. The prosecution rests.
All right, Mr. Henderson, it's your turn to call witnesses. All right, I gotta.
Yes,
I
Your Honor.
really gotta go in my head for one moment, and then you can call your
Absolutely.
witness.
Absolutely. Should I call him now or should I wait for you?
Yeah, go ahead and call.
I'd like to call Mr. Murphy Braun. Ooh, how you doing, cutie? Are you a judge too? Look absolutely delicious.
Hey, we need to form a perimeter between you and I. If you
Armadillo.
could, for the sake of court, I don't need you to step near me.
Your Honor, whenever you're ready.
Perimeter.
Ooh, I love your suspenders.
Sir, do me a favor, step over here, back away from the judge.
Oh, of course.
Stand by your stand, please.
Appreciate that.
All right, continue.
Are you in love with Tora?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
I believe he talked about the relevance earlier whenever he was put him on the recall list, and I agreed with the relevance. I want to hit.
I'm sorry. Have you been sworn in yet?
I don't know. It was in my head.
Oh, maybe we can do it again.
He's been sworn in previously, so he would still be under oath,
There you
as
go.
in any court of law.
Okay, sorry. I'm not a lawyer. Are you in love with?
It shows, sir.
Are you in love with Tora?
I don't know, maybe.
It's a yes or no question.
Yeah, and love is complicated. Very complicated.
Have you ever done anything? Let me, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this properly. Have you done anything to court Tora in the past?
Again, relevance, Your Honor. Objection, relevance.
Would you like me to describe what I'm trying to get at here?
No, I just move it along. I want to hear it. Just go ahead. I'm gonna allow it.
I don't know what would specifically define as courting activity. I've spoken to Dr. Andrews before, in a friendly manner. Yes.
Did you embellish the occurrences of the incident because Nora was there?
Clarification. You said because Nora's there. Do you mean?
Oh, sorry.
Dr.
Not
Andrews?
Nora. Tora. Yes, Dr. Andrews.
No. I was in no condition to embellish. I was in her medical care. It was on her to ensure that I was given the care that I needed and best suited the injuries.
Were your interactions that day with her purely of medical nature?
Strictly speaking, no.
No further questions on it.
All right, Nora, would you like to rebuttal?
Mr. Braun, Mr. Henson already asked you about, your romantic interest or lack thereof in Dr. Andrews. Do you have a fiance?
Last I checked, yeah, I do.
So you are still with your fiance, correct?
As of this day, I am still engaged, yes, to Miss Bliss.
And
This is good.
Dr. Andrews has done nothing but just take care of your wounds that day on June 2nd.
Objection, leading.
She's cross-examined and she can lead it.
Rip.
Could you repeat the question, though?
And Dr. Andrews has done nothing with you but just treat your wounds on June 2nd, 2019.
On June 2nd, 2019, yes, that's correct. All she did was treat my wounds and conduct a skin transplant.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson, would you like to rebuttal?
Yes, Your Honor. Were you aroused during that skin graft?
Yes.
What?
Are you in love with your current fiance?
I failed to see how this is relevant.
Well, I mean, Miss Nora did bring up your fiance, so it's pretty relevant now. After all, this is a rebuttal.
Yes, of course I am.
You're under oath. Let me remind you.
Well, I mean, you can just go ahead and prove that I'm not then. Yes, I am. Of course I am. What kind of monster would I be if I wasn't?
Have you ever cheated on your fiance?
No.
Objection relevance.
You're the one that brought up the fiance, Mr. Prey. You made your bed, now you gotta lay in it. I'm gonna allow it.
Would you
Sure
lay
did, Your
in
Honor.
Miss
Sure
Tora's
did in this
bed
case.
if given the opportunity?
Objection
No.
relevance.
I'm gonna allow it.
Of course not. I am engaged. And she is married.
Would you say that the wrath of a woman may be considered more scary than the wrath of the law?
Objection speculation.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Prey, would you like to rebuttal?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Braun, you can step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Henderson, you got any other witnesses?
Oh, yes. Miss Tora, please.
All right, Miss Tora, can you come back up? All right, come ask her.
Oh, yes. Do you believe Murphy Braun is in love with you?
I don't think Mr. Braun knows anything about love. I think maybe infatuation.
Interesting. Has Mr. Braun ever made any advances towards you in the past?
Yes.
Objection. Okay. Sure. Whatever.
Have you returned those advances?
Definitely not.
Oof.
Objection.
Braun, you can't object. You're a witness.
During the time of the skin grafting, did anything unexpected move?
Objection speculation. What is unexpected?
I think you need to be a little bit more clear there, Mr. Henderson. I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't expect her to.
During the skin grafting, was there any bodily movement?
Well, of course. Between myself and those around us, yes, there was lots of bodies moving.
Did Murphy Braun show any signs of movement unrelated to the injury at the time of grafting?
Objection speculation. How is she to determine that?
I'm going to
as
sustain
she's
that.
working.
Do you believe Mr. Murphy Braun may have been aroused at the time of the skin grafting?
Objection speculation. How is she to determine that?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna sustain that. I think a better question would be,
Did he
you
pop
see
a
him
boner
aroused or
at
not?
the time you skin grafted him?
Objection relevance.
I mean, Mr. Braun had to answer the same question. Why would it be relevant for her to answer? I'm gonna allow it.
I was unaware at the time as I was focused on his injury, and that was, skin grafting the new layer of skin to his gaping wound.
Have you attempted to tend to his gaping heart?
No.
Objection.
All right, I think, Mr. Henderson, I think we got to the point
No-
of all
no
this.
further
I think
questions.
You got
Thank you,
across
Your
what
Honor.
you wanted to get across. Miss Nora, do you have any rebuttals?
No, sir.
All right, Miss Nora, you can step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Henderson, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Miss Nora, are you ready with your closing statement?
I sure am, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson, are you ready with your closing statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's go ahead and proceed then and get the show on the road. Miss Nora, you go up first.
Okay. From EMS to law enforcement to civilians, Garfield Henderson's nefarious deeds have
I'm making
adversely
it up on the
affected many
spot.
people, as we have seen here today. Henderson lured his victims under the innocent guises of being new to the city, needing a service, or even a friend. Peter, Bobby, Gary. None of these names are Garfield. After luring the individuals and making sure that his prey was secluded from everyone but himself, he would take out his sharp and serrated knife Henderson would plunge the knife deep into his victim's thighs and savagely, relentlessly, and viciously carve the flesh separating the sinew from the bone from another fellow human being's thigh and eagerly consume their still warm flesh in front of the victim without shame or sense of remorse for his actions. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I just need a moment. Thinking about what the victims endured and how they have to revisit the most traumatic event of their life today shatters my heart at its core. The victims, Sunny D, Pinto Patel, Park Ranger Clarkson, and Murphy Braun, in addition to the first responders, will have to live with this memory for the rest of their lives. Deputy Metzger was viciously stabbed by Henderson because he did not want to face the music for his crimes. Some of them will never be fully functional again. And in the case of Park Ranger Clarkson, who will never be able to know the comfort of a woman ever again. Then again, I'm not sure he had it to begin with. While we have extensively discussed the legality of cannibalism, the crimes surrounding cannibalism are illegal. Mr. Henderson has not argued his actual charges, which are as followed: attempted second-degree murder on a peace officer, reckless evading, resisting arrest, assault with a deadly weapon, criminal threats, unlawful imprisonment, battery of a peace officer, and impersonation. After dining on the flesh of his human companions, Mr. Henderson would rate his victims on a 5-star scale, as if he exited a Michelin-rated restaurant, and not permanently altering someone's life for the worst. Suffice it to say, human beings are not restaurants, and we are not a society where animalistic behavior should be tolerated. We live in Los Santos, not the Lord of the Flies, ladies and gentlemen. That being said, Mr. Henderson has a severe disease in which he has months to live. Mr. Henderson is a severe danger to society from the word of Chief of Medicine himself, and should not be going among the general public to consume their flesh and continue his madness. His condition will only worsen, and we will see more attacks. Pinto Patel, Sunny D, and Murphy Braun are lucky to be alive. But will the next victim, or should I say victims, be so fortunate? I implore the court to find Mr. Henderson guilty and have him locked away far from regular society for the good of the many.
Ooh, that's really mean. Oh, is it my turn now, Yana?
Yeah, Mr. Henderson, let's hear your closing argument.
Okay. Hello, my name is Garfield Henderson, and I'm just very misunderstood. Using the same line that the DA over here used. I don't think it's illegal to perjure to steal her own words, but she said Peter, Gary, Nolan, none of those names are Garfield, because you gotta wonder, was that actually Garfield? That wasn't really proved today, was it? Just a lot of names and a lot of coincidences regarding all these allegations towards me. At no point did any of these witnesses really just look at me and say, hey, that's actually him right there. No, what they saw today was discrimination. Discrimination against those who may like men a little bit or might be into a special kind of pig. As you saw today, a lot of the witnesses tried to find reasons to throw me in. Some of those reasons weren't even illegal, based on this law and the law of California. In other cases, we had witnesses who may have ulterior motives, like getting in bed with a doctor, or a doctor not really showing affection back. We had other cases where a man with a small penis size may have allegedly moved somebody's head towards his cock. Then we got testimony from police officers who don't even recognize some of the laws that they're trying to uphold. In some cases, they said stabbings took place there was 2 stabbings. Other times it said 3. There was a lot of crazy misinformation, a lot of information on the table, and a lot of it didn't really line up. But one thing is for certain, there's a lot of criminals in the city. There's a lot of stabbings that have taken place. And if I am to be found guilty, What makes me all that different? I didn't do any of this. But if you're going to put those charges on me, at least try to have some mercy. Thank you.
Alrighty. Mr. Perry, do you have a rebuttal closing to that in any way?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Of course you do.
I have no idea what the fuck I just said.
It's interesting Mr. Henderson now claims to not have done anything when the reports, the tweets, the evidence have all been submitted. Multiple witnesses have come forward. The witness list, 17 people deep. Park Ranger Clarkson pointed at Mr. Garfield Henderson and said, "You did this to me. You did this to me." Sonny D pointed at Mr. Garfield and called him Peter and confirmed later on it was him who attacked him at the burger shot. Mr. Murphy
I just
also
want to stop you
identified.
right there. Sonny D's whole testimony was stricken off the record because he couldn't be cross-examined because we couldn't understand him.
Oh, I didn't realize it was stricken. Either way, multiple people have identified Mr. Garfield in this courtroom. The reports and tweets are there. The evidence is there. Mr. Garfield is a menace and will remain as such if he is let out. Thank you.
I'd like to rebut that.
This court. You can't.
Real quick, Your Honor.
You can't.
Wait, what do you mean I can't? Wait, really? Well, that's
Because
too
you're the
bad.
defensive. The plaintiff gets to rebuttal the defense one time.
I can't
Thank
rebut
God
the fact
for that, because we'd be here all day.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And you do look lovely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to put the court into recess. And then I'll go back here with the judges, and I'll come back with my verdict. A decision will be made today on this, and
ooh,
we'll go from there. Go into the recess. Alrighty, I'm gonna put this court back into
All right, here we
session. I went back. I talked to the other judges, got some of their opinions on this.
Yeah, I
think
played
we came to
Kindle,
an
Nino,
agreement, and I'm gonna hand down a verdict on
Tugs,
this.
the cannibal.
I'm gonna find Mr. Garfield, after all the testimony, I believe that he did, in fact, consume people's body parts. Although cannibalism is not illegal in our city, there are charges that represent
Red
those
Ninja
things.
coming in with the 34
and those charges
bucks. What
are
up, man?
represented in this court file. And I do find that he did all of those things. I'm gonna find Mr. Garfield guilty on all those charges, except for impersonation. All the impersonations, he's going to be found not guilty, because you have to actually impersonate somebody. Saying that I'm Bob or I'm Steve is not impersonation. You have to impersonate a specific person, unless you're impersonating a government body like a police officer or a judge, and then it wouldn't have to be so specific. But as long as you're impersonating a person, anyone can say they're whoever the hell they want without it being a specific person. He's going to be not guilty of all those charges. When it comes down to the sentencing, it was a little hard, because in this city we have something called Coop's Law. Coop's Law basically says this: in the events in which a citizen is found guilty of multiple, numerous, and/or continuous instances of heinous, malicious, and/or organized capital-level crimes in the county of Los Santos, they will be subject, but not limited to, the following sentences: search and seizure, life in prison, or the death penalty. This may be carried out at the discretion of the Department of Justice. Do I feel like Mr. Garfield needs to be held for life because of these crimes? No, I don't. There's a lot of heinous things that happen in this city, and Mr. Garfield hasn't shown a pattern of being found guilty of these crimes, and I don't think he deserves to be put in on life. Do I think Mr. Garfield needs help? I do. Do I think the mental evaluation that he had was conflicted? I do. That's why it was thrown out. So at this time, what we're going to do is, we're going to hold Mr. Garfield at maximum security. That's exactly where Mr. Dav's at the moment. Pending evaluation from Pixie Plum, since there's no conflict there. I asked the DA to reach out to Miss Plum, make sure this evaluation happens. I do not want to see Mr. Garfield held indefinitely. I want to see him be rehabilitated. That's the purpose of jail in the first place. A lot of people think jail is just punishment, but jail's not punishment. And even mental, the whole purpose is to rehabilitate the person. As far as the the prion, or whatever that disease is. I want Dr. Sudge to check in and check the progress of that disease with Mr. Garfield, because he does show signs that it might be a misdiagnosis. I'm not sure if he has that disease. Based off what Mr. Cross says, he doesn't have it. It could be a misdiagnosis. I want him routinely checked on, and to see if he does have that disease. And I don't feel in any way that someone having a disease like that should keep him off the streets. So you're the outcome is, Mr. Garfield, you're going to be escorted down to maximum security. You're going to be placed there pending evaluation. Once you've had your multiple rehabilitations with a psychiatrist, at that time you're going to be released. This case is closed.
Ooh! Thank you so much for letting me have a taste of you. I would have made this end a little quicker, but I didn't want to have you all waste your time or nothing.
Mr. Garfield, turn and face away from us.
Oh, of course. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to turn around from right here. Mr. Clarkson, here you go. Like what you see?
It's Senior Deputy Michael Rogers, sir.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, thank God I can.
Take care, Your Honor. I appreciate it. And Nora,
I'm gonna be going with
sure
you
I'll be
because I'm
seeing
the
you
one that has to
soon.
put you in there.
Oh my goodness.
If you don't mind, I'll come. Happens.
Yep, you can tag along. Clarence, run up and grab a shafter, please. Okay, need transport for other individuals.
I would love myself a shafter.
I'll go get a vehicle for us.
I believe Clarence is getting a shafter to transport you guys.
Yeah, we'll meet him down
There's this
there.
big, there was this big case of Bulba Stone getting basically a paternity test to find out if Adam Stone was actually his dad.
Right, I've got a
and it
vehicle.
turned out
Yeah,
that he wasn't his dad.
Yeah, we're getting transport for
That's
multiple.
a fucking lie. I was.
Big guy in the pink, you need
Alrighty,
to
sir.
jump.
Watch your head going in.
Thank you.
Alright, hold on. Stand by.
Cool.
Cleared and become a lawyer?
We out. Yeah, this is what.
I don't
Good work.
know about that.
Hey, Mr.
Thanks.
Garfield, Henderson here. I'm gonna buckle you in, okay, buddy?
It's been a while, bud.
Feel free to reach around.
Nah, sir, I'm not gonna give you any reach arounds, all right? Just gonna buckle you in. No funny business, okay?
Oh, that tickles.
Yeah, okay, relax, sir. It's okay.
I played a lawyer before many 3 years
Braun.
ago. I thought that went well. In fact, we did what we accomplished. We just wanted the medical eval to get thrown out. That was our primary goal and objective. I'm actually curious how my closing statement was, because I literally just randomly rambled. I don't even know if it made any sense. Probably didn't. Yeah, it was all improv. We looked up all the lawyer shit like during the case. Almost screwed myself. I probably almost did. But I wanted it to kind of feel real, you know what I mean? Because the character wasn't a lawyer, so in order to simulate
40823, Mr.
it,
RPD.
I wanted to make sure that any stuff was learned in the moment,
All right,
so
watch
we
your head,
weren't
man.
too good at
Play
it.
out.
You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sure I did. I mean, with that stuff, I got no idea. Like, when you self-represent yourself, like, how are you supposed to
if you have
form
issues
your
with your Isaac.
questions? For example, how do you make a closing statement? If you
You
have a
see
bunch of
everything okay, Mr.
charges
Henderson?
against you, but you're trying to... that I do. Thank you very much.
Murder Katie and Rabbit.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Dead man walking. I mean, wrong movie.
Yeah, wrong movie.
I mean, we already have the Medicare, so we can already check for pulse.
It's alright.
Yeah.
He'll be okay.
All
We're
doors
gonna
have
get
been
him some help
unlocked
that he
route
needs.
to
Give him the attention and
maximum.
help he needs.
Oh, what's down
Yes,
here?
sir.
Well, you're home for a little while, sir.
Is there any food down here, or am I gonna have to find myself something to eat?
We'll make sure you have plenty of
There's
food
just
and water.
dab, I think. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Guessing you got life.
Yeah, they'll be alright.
Yeah.
They got their own cell.
They got their own cells.
Yeah, I mean,
Put them across from each other.
Dad puts his arms. Oh yeah, okay. There.
Do you think I could?
Dad reaches
right.
out
I mean,
do you
as
think
far
I
as and then
could
be on hit.
get a cell right next to his, just so we can get to talk to each other?
I mean,
Maybe across from each other.
Ooh, what about from side to side?
Yeah, I don't
There
think
we
so.
go.
Not with your rap sheet.
Ooh. Can I ask you something, Your Honor?
Uh-huh.
Would I have been able to plead guilty, but then only argue what was done to me?
What do you mean? I don't get what you're asking.
Well, if I had admitted to doing everything that was I had allegedly done,
He's soft cuff right now.
would I have been able to fight life as
Well,
being an unjust
probably
punishment?
not, because the fact that you fought this in court brought out the fact that that diagnosis could have been incorrect, and you probably would have been here forever until you died.
You eat people, sir.
I mean,
You're coming in
basically,
this cell.
You would have gone on to a sentencing hearing, which may have taken longer, and we go through, victim impact statements, things of that nature.
Oh, I see.
Uh-huh.
And would that be done separately?
Well, it would have happened today, just like this one would have. You probably would have got life, to be honest with you, if you didn't argue what you argued. You argued yourself to what you got. You showed that that whatever disease you're diagnosed with doesn't make sense that you have it, with you being as comprehending as you are right now. So I do think you have a problem, and normally when people have problems, we don't just throw them away for life and forget about them. We try to get them help.
Well, you're
So
telling
that's
me
what
if
we're
I
gonna
didn't
try to
represent
do.
myself, I probably would have seen myself in life in prison?
Well, if you would have pled guilty and just with the sentencing.
Ooh. Fantastic.
I'm sure if you had an attorney, I mean, you probably would have had a better case, but I don't think it'd have been any different. I think you did quite all right.
Well, thank you. I didn't exactly write
So
down
this is how
my
this is gonna
entire
work.
argument.
I'm going to ask the DA to reach out to Miss Plum.
Yes.
I am going to try to reach out to her myself, but also I want to make it clear that's also on you to reach out to her to get you released out of here, so you can send mail from when the officers come to collect the mail. You can email Miss Plum and get those meetings set up to
Of
a
course,
time
Your
that is
Honor.
appropriate for you. And once she gets you rehabilitated, she has a few sessions with you, she feels like you're clear to be released, you'll be released out of here.
Your Honor, once I do get out and I get rehabilitated, would I be able to ask permission to eat people?
I mean, as long as someone gives consent, I guess it'd be legal.
No.
How about you over there,
Okay.
Suspenders? Would you like to give consent? Come on, just go ahead and stick your hand in here.
But hopefully, after you get rehabilitated, you ain't gonna want to eat people anymore.
Well, what does
That's what we're
rehabilitation
hoping.
have anything to do? What am I getting rehabilitated for? There ain't nothing wrong with
I
eating
mean,
people.
we're giving you the chance to rehabilitate right now, sir.
Well, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, right? Is there technically, all right, even though it's against the law, but is there technically anything wrong? Are you hurting anybody if you smoke crack?
But crack is illegal, Your Honor. Eating
It is.
people is not.
But even though it's not illegal, how about cigarettes? Going for help to get off cigarettes. Is it illegal?
One's legally required. This is legally required, and that isn't.
You're legally required to get help because you're mentally unstable.
In what form and way am I mentally unstable? Because I like the taste of
I don't know.
human flesh?
I don't know. I will let the psychiatrist find that out. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist.
And what if there is no psychiatrist that can sympathize for me? You know, Your Honor,
that's unfortunate.
the thing about this world is there's a lot of taboos, you see? All kinds of taboos. Taboos that used to exist a decade ago, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago. And I believe the consumption of human meat is a taboo of today. Tomorrow you may find out that people may very willfully be given over pieces of their flesh for lots of money, and there should be no reason why individuals should be prevented from being able to consume such a fine delicacy.
Right. Well, that'll be up to the psychiatrist to decide, and I'll let them look at you. I'm not a mental professional, so I'm not even going to pretend I know what the hell you're even talking about.
Of course, Your Honor.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you in. I'm having problems seeing your PayPal.
I got it.
23, Your Honor.
Which one does he get? Which one does he get? Which one does he get?
Look at
Take out the
this.
corner.
Oh, it's so
Make
nice.
sure they're locked. Make sure they're locked. Make sure they're locked.
Mr. Dab, I think is out doing his hourly walk. Make sure you say hi to him. He's a good guy. He's just misunderstood.
You're gonna be all right.
Ooh.
Okay. Dab was in the far end cell, so.
Take care. Oh, thank you.
They're meat free, by the way.
Is that?
Oh dear God! Oh dear God!
Okay, so
Mr. Henderson?
He's running.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Sorry,
He was gone.
Get out of your line of fire.
Oh!
Who unlocked the door?
All right.
Wait, he just.
So when you drop
When you
that
drop-
burger, at least to me, that gate opened
Can
wide
I-
open.
Oh, really?
Can I remove those
Oh,
taser
okay.
prongs before you put them
Yeah.
back in there, Metzger?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold him right
I
here.
thought we were going for a
Yeah, no,
walk.
that's fine.
Is
Enjoy your
locked, right?
meat-free burgers, sir. Yeah, that'll help.
Veggie burgers.
They're only
Yeah.
pickles and mayonnaise.
Yep.
Pickles. Sounds like his.
No,
Alright,
not
I'll,
mayonnaise.
that's
It's got
all
to be
give you some
veganase. Veganase.
Car's unlocked, Metzger. I got lethal coverage for you.
All right, I'm just gonna pull those taser prongs out here. All right.
Well, thank you so much, dear.
There you go.
Yeah, of course.
Watch out.
All right. You should be okay.
Does that mean I don't get
Yeah,
to
you
go
make a
out
run
on a
for you, Coop?
walk?
No wall.
Oh, go ahead
You
and
can walk
close
around
the
your
door.
cell.
Yeah.
Metzger, wait till you're
Fortunately,
clear
we
of the
don't-
cell. You can
we
reach
don't
in,
allow
remove
it.
the shackles. You can
Yep.
come up and get the cuffs taken off. Your Honor, I'd take a step back just in case.
Ooh.
All right. You come through that door, Mr. Henderson?
Next time it's gonna be a bullet, not a taser, sir.
All right, all right. Don't say that.
Hey, just for the
Enough of that
record, I
going
mean,
on
not that.
already.
Hey, not that it matters. I mean, were you going for me?
Going for you? Whatever do you mean?
Mr. Henderson, come over here
I mean,
for a second.
Okay. No,
Chief Justice would like to talk to you for a moment. Now that man with the suspenders said that he's gonna come down here and
I'm outta here,
make it one
boys.
time for you. So just watch out.
Have a good one, Mr. Honor.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can nibble on his toes if he allows me to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear any
Maybe.
of that conversation.
All right, Mr. Henderson, we're gonna go ahead and we'll let Dr. Plum know that you're down here, okay?
Of course.
If you need anything,
I'll be sure to send her an
you know how to
email.
reach us. Yes. You need any more food or anything like that? Or you got enough for now?
Well, as long as I got visitors, I
Um,
should be just fine.
Okay.
Complimentary. You might need if you need that.
I like it raw.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right, well, there we go. You take care, sir.
Toodaloo! See you soon!
I think he likes Coop. I think he
I wonder
likes
what he.
I might need to fake out this mental evaluation. I didn't mind staying in the penitentiary because there was a lot of food inside. But this is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to fight my way out. Let them know that I'm rehabilitated and just be a little bit smarter in the way that I get my delights in. You're real cute, chat. Can I nibble on your ear? I'll do it if you allow me to. Come over here, chat. I see you. Laying in there on bed, watching on your little television. Maybe I can lay right by you. Right on your side and take a little nibble. Come on, just a little bit. Come over here. Come over here. Where are you? Come back. Stop running. Stop running, Chad. Stop running, Chad. Oh, man. Chat, that was so much fun. That was so much fun. I hope you guys